situation that I'm in. We're up down and sit alone, drowning in my sin. Get right or get left, what will it be? Time is running out, the blood is flowing down the street.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Resident Darrell, and tonight I have a punishing podcast panel. That's right. We have Macho back in the house. How you doing, brother?
Oh, yeah. I'm back, baby. How you guys doing?
Good. Good to see you. Good to have you. And we were talking before we started recording. It actually took several weeks to get you back on and make this episode happen. So we're super excited to have you on. We've been flirting with disaster for quite a while. We've been talking about the Punisher Warzone, and then our man had to go and pass away. So we said, hey, we are going to come back to this. We're going to talk about this in depth. So this week's official topic, we're digging into the Punisher Warzone. That's the meat and potatoes of the night. Now, we'll talk about a few other things Punisher related as well. So you're definitely going to get into some really good conversation. And we have a little bit of show and tell, at least for you guys. Now, for you audio listeners, sorry, you're not going to get to see all the goodies. I almost recorded this one video as well. I was like, man, that's really asking a lot more editing on my end. And I was like, you know what? We'll wait. We'll put it off just a little longer. But we have in the house the bearded nerd. What's up, brother?
What's happening, Kevin?
Yeah, that mic sounds good, man. I like it. I actually think it sounds louder and crisper than the normal one.
The normal one normally has a pop filter on it, so you can't hear it. It kind of dampens it a little bit.
Hey, I got my first copyright claim on a YouTube video.
Oh, was it for background music?
No, it was for thank you. No, I put a wrestling promo in my video this week.
Was it like an actual one?
It was one someone ripped from an episode of TNA.
If it's more than 7 seconds, they'll copyright it. And
it is.
If you now, here's the caveat: if you change something like a major aspect of it, you can use it. It's called the Fair Use Act.
Yeah, it's this one's not like a strike. This one's just a claim, and it says that it is able to be used on YouTube. So
okay,
and I went all 36. I went 36 seconds out of the 2-minute long promo. But you guys remember Scott Steiner doing his you got a 33 and a third chance of winning, but then you take my 25% chance of winning, and then I actually have a 62 and 3%, whatever.
His whole one from TNA.
Dude, yes, it's so good.
Right.
I make a math error as I'm going over a recap in our most recent YouTube video, Resident Darrell on YouTube, by the way. And I was like, my daughter looks at me, she's like, what? That's terrible math. And I do math for a living, by the way. I'm a loan officer. I structure loans. So anytime I make a really simple math error, it looks really stupid on me. So I put a little segment of old Scott Steiner teaching math and put that was my math teacher. So if you guys are interested to see how I learned how to count, it's on YouTube right now. So, T Diddy, we got you with us tonight. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, yo.
Oh, that's some Scott Hall doing right there, bro.
You know, the bad guy, he's here. He brought the pain. He's brought the machismo. And he brought the macho. And we're ready to go.
Dude,
survey says Loot Bros win again.
There you go. That's good. That's good. You know, his son kind of favors you, actually. Have you seen his son?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a big boy. He's what, 7 foot tall? That's a huge
6'7".
He's crazy. I wonder why he's not in AEW or anything like that yet.
Problems like his dad had, kind of.
Yeah, really? You think so? Think he's got the alcohol problems?
No,
probably.
Chasing the dragon.
Oh, dang. What a bummer. Because I remember when him and his dad were touring, doing the indie scene, that was going to be a thing. He was wearing the NWO Wolfpack style vest and he was doing the Outsider's Edge. So speaking of outsiders, we got the Matacon in the house. Now, hey, I didn't say the unofficial title for your favorite Transformer. Trying to play nice since you have alluded to some changes in your life. How are you doing, brother?
Doing well. I will be the first to admit I'm not as familiar with Punisher as the rest of you folks. But
I'm with you.
I did my refresh. I watched Warzone tonight. I still have my favorite Punishers, and we'll discuss that later.
Nice. I like it. So he's coming in here hot. Actually, that was a very passive aggressive.
Scared me.
Oh,
So
that
guys,
was nasty.
Here
Sorry.
on the Loot Bros podcast, we talk about video games. We talk about nerd stuff. We comic books, movies, what have you. Tonight, we're going to jump into all of the sorts. But before we do that, we want to toast to our Patreon producers. Here we go. Now, I am officially back on the sauce. I've been trying real hard to stay off the white monster. I made it like a week. Oh, we got some G Fuel. What's up?
G Fuel's time.
All right, what's your promo code, Macho?
I wish I had one, man.
Use promo code Macho.
Is it Angry Joe flavored?
It's a Sonic Sour Power
There we go. Oh,
I
dang.
haven't had that one.
or Knuckles exactly, but
No.
I like the peach rings.
Sorry. All right. Well, we're going to give a shout out to our Patreon producers, MZ Nitro. My name is Mayo, Sadek, and the Matacon himself. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Thanks to all the other patrons. And we want to pour one out for our boy, Ray Stevenson.
Ray Stevenson.
Stevenson. That's right. The Punisher, the late, great, not my favorite Punisher.
Rest in peace, sir.
R.I.P., brother. Here we go. That's good stuff. All right. Guys, in the order of business, I've already talked about the YouTube channel. Go check it out. New videos are up. If you look in the description of the podcast, no matter what platform you're using, you see a code, an invite code for Whatnot. Whatnot is a live auction. If you can imagine eBay and Twitch, put them together, and that's what we're doing. We're selling video games. We're doing it live. Go check it out. If you use my invite code, you get $10. And if you spend any of that money with anybody, doesn't have to be with me, I get $10. So definitely go on there, sign up for Whatnot, sign your sister up for Whatnot, sign your cousin up for Whatnot, sign your neighbor up for Whatnot. And then come
Tell
on
your
there.
wife about the whatnot.
That's right. Show her the Whatnot. Give her
the whatnot.
There you go.
and then spend some money on Whatnot so that your boy can fill his dreams of completing his PS Vita collection. But that's really what we're here for, right? PlayStation Vita, PlayStation Portable, we got that PS3, that Punisher. I bought some comic books. I bought some Punisher comics off Whatnot the other day. Guys, Whatnot is probably one of the most addictive marketplaces I've ever been to.
Facts.
Because I feel like I'm getting a deal all the time, but I'm not. Because you get a little deal here, and you get a little deal there. And then, you get a notification saying your boy Rhino's over here going live. It's like, oh, man, he's got Punisher for me. And then before you know it, I just spent like $300. Like, I didn't. Like, how does this happen,
man?
It's definitely a thing. So go check it out. Check out the Loot Bros socials. We've got the Instagram. I know I don't promote it very often, and T Diddy gets on to me all the time. Go check out the Loot Bros Instagram. I've been at least posting a lot of the pickups and things we've been talking about here on the show. And check out the Loot Bros Discord. Okay, there are links in the. I'll get to you in just one second, TD. Check out Loot Bros Discord. There is a link in our link tree that's posted in the bio of every single episode. Go hang out. There's tons of people in there. And let's say you don't like video games all that much. Let's say you're just here for the shenanigans, but you play a little Marvel Snap. Well, we've got a room in our Discord just for our Marvel Snappers. What you got for us, T Diddy?
Okay, on the Instagram page, I have yet to find the correct Instagram page. I get a whole bunch of weirdo pages. So can you put that in the link, or basically
I'll put
give
it in there.
give the spelling correctly? Because all the ones I look up for Loot Bros, there's some weirdo stuff.
It's the Loot Bros podcast, and you'll see a picture of me, a cartoon version of me on the potty.
All right.
So yeah, go check out the socials, check out the Discord, check out the YouTube, like, share, subscribe, do all those things, help us with the algorithms, and also go check out our good friends over at provengamer.com. That's all I'm going to say about that. We got a Patreon. You can get involved for as little as $1 this month. All the extra content on the Patreon was some pretty cool stuff, man. We had the Super Loot Bros episode. We had a deep dive where the Bearded Nerd did one of his pledge games. I actually am rolling over my Attack on Titan pledge reviews into next week, or next month rather. So I'll have some more of those popping out. We're going to have episode by episode of that new Peacock series, Twisted Metal. All right, that's going to be on our
Ooh.
Patreon. I'm actually really excited about that one. And I just did a review for a little indie game called Sephony, and I am the first platinum achiever for the PS4 version in the world.
Woo woo.
That's the first time I've ever done that.
Okay.
I wish I was a platinum achiever for a game I actually liked. But that review will be in the Patreon feed as well. So go check it out, guys. There's lots and lots of content there, over 100 pieces of content, podcasts for days, all kinds of stuff, comic books, video games. I mean, anime adjacent stuff.
Maybe
Just say-
soon anime direct stuff.
Maybe. Maybe. So, all right, guys, we're going to start off with our guest and let's talk about what you've been playing. Macho, what you got going on, brother?
Gaming wise, I have recently beat Final Fantasy 16.
Nice.
So far, it's my game of the year. That's not. I'm not just saying that just to say it. I really think so far it is my truly game of the year. I think it was great. The music, the voice acting, the action, the story, the world. Man, so far it is the game that I really, really enjoyed so far. And I'm currently just grinding some Halo Infinite.
Nice.
Still on the grind with that. Looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3 next week.
Okay. There you
What
go.
I liked about Final Fantasy was that they did the lip matching to English for once. It just made it flow so much better. And you're right, the voice acting in that game is freaking fantastic.
I hear
Very
many,
good.
many good things about that game.
Very good.
It's a shame I'll have to wait to play it for another decade or two. So, all right, Bearded Nerd, what you been playing, brother?
Well, I'm currently everyone heard, and we're not going to talk about it any further. But Xbox decided that they wanted to finally put their ball in the court and fix some servers. So
I hear that.
I'm currently playing Modern Warfare 2 OG multiplayer,
Oh,
like as we speak.
I picked up every single Call of Duty on Xbox 360 today in anticipation of that game being in a much higher demand now that those the matchmaking servers are
110%. Oh my gosh. And it runs so smoothly too. I'm finding matches in like 2-3 seconds.
Dude, that's dope.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't show you that there's players online yet, but like I said, I'm finding finding matches in very quick succession. I'm also playing some Diablo 4 as well. The season 1 is out, so I've grinded that a little bit. I'm at level 22. I haven't got to play that much. I've been really, really busy with work and stuff this week. And then I also was busy with we're just, Darrell didn't say it, we're recording a deep dive tonight as well, right after this episode. We're going to be recording the new Batman, the Doom that came to Gotham.
Yep.
And I will save my rantings and shenanigans for that part of tonight.
I dig it.
But that's about all I've really been playing this week, honestly.
Nice. All right, T Diddy.
I am playing my usual enemies. One of them being the real game of the year, which is Zelda, of course. Look, I know you want JP's place, but no one can fill that seat. Secondly, I am playing my favorite anime because they just released new content for it. Disney Dreamlight Valley, yes. And then, of course, I am playing some older games. And the older games are Judgment Lost, which is a Japanese title, which is Judgment number 2, more or less. Unbelievably good game. I just started playing that today. And then I am also playing, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which is, I guess, the medieval Borderlands game.
The second one or the first one? So there's the first one was Dragon's Keep.
The second one.
Okay. Yep. Wonderlands.
Yeah. Wonderland. So I'm playing that. And other than that, I am currently playing on a handheld because I can cheat on that handheld and use turbo controllers. Track and field, because I love having all the records in track and field, and I'll give the guy like a 10-second start. And like he's running, he's like, oh, you're going to win, aren't you? Psych! And then like my dude just takes off and just torches his ass. I love it.
That's amazing. All right, Matacon.
Doing a whole bunch of Pikmin 4. Just got to day 9. I reached the second area. It's a very chill game. Just being able to go around, collect stuff as I want. Also doing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I have a story to share on the worst night of playing Tears of the Kingdom I've ever had.
Oh.
I was building air bikes in the underworld to scale a large cliff, and I decided to flub it, and I fell down all the way back to the ground. And that wouldn't have been a problem, except that I landed near one of the giants, a Stalnox, who decided to butt slam my bike and destroy it. And that was after about 30 minutes of work, so I decided to say, screw it, I'm going to go back to the overworld. And I went to the overworld, and I'm trying to capture one of the legendary horses. And I flubbed the capture because I ran out of stamina. So I get out one of the Zonai pots to make more stamina potions, and all the restless crickets I have, I accidentally launch over the pot, and they all fly away. I said, yep, I'm done with that for the night. So then I went on to also play more Styx, Shards of Darkness, with my buddy Stebbs. That game is freaking hysterical playing in co-op, because anytime you die, I see that, Diddy. That's an awesome outfit. Anytime you die in the game, Styx, the main character, berates you, being like, I know I may be digitized, but I'm not stupid. What's your excuse? Or he'll go, oh, great, I'm dead. You're probably going to go out there and get laid. Oh, wait, hold on. Lean a little closer. Sniffs the screen and goes, probably not. So the game has a very sarcastic and dark sense of humor, and I highly recommend it for anybody that loves co-op stealth action as well as the type of humor. It's Deadpool level humor.
There you go. That sounds awesome.
Before we go on to you, Darrell, I do have a question for the group, and it's in line with the comic-themed presentation we have tonight.
Okay.
Who would you rather face in a dark alley? A laughing Batman or a quiet Spider-Man?
Oof. Rather face? Definitely a quiet Spider-Man. Who would I be most terrified to face? A laughing Batman, because I read that series and I know exactly what that means. You're dead.
Quiet Spider-Man. He probably put some dirt in my eye.
It's so good. Oh, bully Spider-Man.
Yeah, quiet Spider-Man. That just means his little feelings have been hurt.
Yeah.
He's going to come out like Tobey Maguire in the third Spider-Man movie dancing.
That's right.
Black suit.
Oh, bully Maguire.
What powers do I have if I'm facing them? Am I just normal me? Do I have guns? Do I have
normal you?
Oh, then Spider-Man, because I know Spider-Man's just sulking about something because someone hurt his little feelings.
Noted. Laughing Batman and wins. Sorry, had to go on a diatribe. Go ahead, Darrell.
No, you're good. You're good. No, so I've been playing a handful of things. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, I am the first platinum holder for a little indie game called Sephony. It is a Ratalaika published game, but this is kind of one of more of their premium titles. It is a full game, no cheesy trophies. I mean, as a matter of fact, the trophy that stumped me is a trophy tip. If you're going to play Sephony, you beat the game, you get most of the trophies. You beat the epilogue, you get one of the trophies. And then there's a trophy for finding the secret room, essentially. And it's the developer's room. And the way you have to do that is you have to beat the game, load your final save, where it auto saves right before the final boss. Then you have to, once you load that save, you then back out to the surface. Because essentially what you're doing is you're climbing through. It's almost like you're inside this cave system and like there's different levels to it. You go out to the surface where you first start and you have to go into the menus and turn on infinite jump so that you can essentially jump and fly your way around the map. You have to go all the way around the island, and then there's a little hole that's nothing earlier in the game. If you try to get there, if I just randomly went there just to see what was explorable. If you go back post game, there's a door there now, and that is the final trophy to get the platinum for the game. So again, first platinum holder in the world for this game. Not a huge bragging right because it just came out. I got a review copy and no one had played it yet. I've been playing that. Been playing some AEW Fight Forever. We're on the. I think we're playing the PS4 version right now. Like we got a bunch of trophies for the PS5 version, and then we just decided we would just casually play the PS4 version, get a couple trophies. We haven't really sat down and decided to 100% the game. We're just playing for fun. So anytime my brother comes over, we just jump in a bunch of matches, and the game is super fun, but also kind of broken. There's just certain characters that you can almost overpower everyone with, and it makes it so hard to beat them. And in typical wrestling fashion, there's always that one character whose charisma is through the roof. So they get like the finishers super easy. Well, that's how this game is. If you're Kenny Omega, you basically stay with the finisher. And so we played that for several hours the other night with my brother.
You're not playing as a female character trying to take on a male character, are you?
I haven't tried that yet, but I hear that that's a thing you can do. So, I mean, unless you consider Kenny Omega a lady. Keisha Omega, maybe. But yeah, so definitely I've been playing some AEW Fight Forever. I've been, we actually just started the DLC for FNAF Security Breach. There's a free DLC that came out called Ruins. Guys, this junk is friggin' awesome. It is much scarier and much more serious than the actual original game was. And it's a free DLC that's more in line with a FNAF game than the base game was. So the kids are all about it right now, dude. They are freaking loving it. So we're playing that. I've been playing our game club game, Final Fantasy VIII. I've been playing the PS4 remaster version, and I've been playing it on my Kishi. So what I've been doing is I've been laying in bed or laying in my chair, streaming it to my phone and playing with the Kishi. And I'm enjoying it, but it's also a little more complicated than I remembered. Like I was kind of like laughing whenever Kalai was struggling with it a little bit. I was like, Kalai struggles with every game we try to play together. And I was like, and then I started playing it. And I'm like, oh dang, I just died at Infinite.
It's a little it's a little complex.
I was like, this one isn't as easy. And correct me if I'm wrong. This one doesn't have the super speed built into it in the Infinite.
No, because you need the remastered. If you're just streaming the OG PlayStation version,
I'm playing the remaster version.
You're playing it should.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So does it have that in there? I didn't do any exploring. I just started playing.
Yeah, usually I think on your pause screen it's supposed to tell you how to activate it.
All right, I'll dig into that later on this evening. But yeah, I've been playing that. I've been playing a little bit of God of War remaster on the Vita. And I think that's it. I really haven't. Oh, the main game I wanted to talk about. Jeez, I got it brought up on my computer so I can remember to talk about it. Remothered Broken Porcelain. Have you guys ever heard of any of the Remothered games?
No, I have not.
No.
Okay. It's a third person survival horror in the vein of what's that game with the rats?
Plague Tale.
Plague Tale.
Okay. It's got some Euro jank in it. Like it's but if you take Plague Tale and you take Resident Evil 7 and put them together. So you've got big stalker type, enemies that are they're affected by this thing that's happening. I don't want to spoil it. And so they're chasing you around. And so, but it looks a lot like Plague Tale as far as like the third person, the art style, and it's got like a little bit of that jank to it to where it's like,
is this the one that's on sale for $2.99?
I don't know. I own it physically and I own it digitally.
Okay.
There's Tormented Fathers and there's Broken Porcelain. I didn't realize I was playing the sequel. I'd started it the other day. I was like, I need to play a horror game. I hadn't played a horror game in a while. And that's the one I chose. And I'm really enjoying it. I've already beat, I guess, the first Stalker. So what you would consider stage 1. I'm into stage 2. But it's very much, Metroidvania-ish survival horror. Like you got to go from one end of the hotel to the other to unlock something. Then you get something out of there to go unlock this, to go do this. And then when you do it, of course, you trigger the next scene where someone's going to jump out at you and scare you. And it's pretty good. I'm really enjoying it. I do think it is on sale on PlayStation right now. I don't know if it's $2.99. If it's $2.99, snatch it. Like it's totally worth $2.99. But that one is one of the games I've been playing that I've really enjoyed. And then I've got a couple more review games I'm working on, and I'll talk about those probably next week. But yep, that's me.
There's a DLC coming for AEW. Just to let you know, it's free coming up that you can play as CM Punk. So I know you're interested in that.
Nope.
I can't say anything because I participate in like a fantasy draft for wrestling.
There's a fantasy draft for wrestling.
So somebody does. So it's like a memorial thing that our old co-host JP Joseph Priestley he got me into it.
Cool.
So he does it on Facebook. I've actually seen you on Facebook. It's told me to add you as a friend like 5 times, and I'm like, would that be weird? I don't want to send Macho a friend request yet.
I'm never on it. If you send me, I'll probably click submit on 2 years from now, probably.
But yeah, so it's 6-man pods, and it works like I guess it kind of works like a football or another sport fantasy draft. So you each get like 1 through 6. So the first person gets 1 pick, and then when you get to the bottom, they get 2, and then it goes back up, and then 1 gets 2, so on and so forth. Well, I haven't gotten like that 1 or that 2 seed yet. I got like 4th or 5th out of 6, so I got to pick last for the 8, or like almost last for the AEW one, and it was like right off rip. They're like MJF, Adam Cole, and I'm like John Moxley. I'm like, all right, well, so I was like, well, CM Punk's been wrestling every week, so might as well pick him because he doesn't freaking lose.
Let's go.
Get some points out of it, I guess.
Gross. I would lose.
Yeah, you're telling me. How do you think I feel when that had to be my first pick?
I would rather lose than pick CM Punk. I would lose.
Force to cheer for CM Punk when you pick him. Like, I gotta cheer for him.
If it was like real money on the line, like DraftKings or something, and they're like, Darrell, the only way for you to win is pick CM Punk. I'm like, well, here's my money because like
AEW one was worse because I'm like 4th on the AEW or the WWE one. So right off rip, Seth Rollins, Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns. So Mommy? I was like, yeah, mommy. Ooh, mommy. She can step on me any day.
Lord help us.
Hey, there's just something about a wrestler coming out to motionless and white every time that just
Yeah.
Well, she is from the penal colony, so what do you expect?
Dude, he's like, this is still the punishment episode. Time to roast foreign countries.
He said the word punishment. He's like, oh, I'm back into this.
Speaking of punishment, we're gonna have to lay down some predictions for SummerSlam outside of this episode.
We'll be doing that next week after we record. That will be next week's prediction episode. We'll do a little small special for everybody that actually cares about wrestling.
Got to do it. Got to make sure we got to keep them punishment episodes locked and loaded. And by the way, if a co-host, executive decision, by the way, if a co-host doesn't do the prediction episode, they automatically lose from this point on.
I like that.
So Clyde's
gonna lose every time because we're gonna do a wrestling prediction. She's like, I have no idea what's going on. She's gonna lose regardless.
Oh my gosh! It's like, hey, we're gonna talk about the Punisher tonight. Can I not be on this one? Yeah, sure. We're gonna talk wrestling. Can I not be on this one? Yeah, sure. Suit yourself. All right, guys. We've talked about what we've been playing. We've toasted to our patrons. Let's do we have any community questions? I know we got a lot of gifts, a lot of like cool like pictures on the thread, but I don't think we actually had any questions with the exception of, and I did say I would do this, so I'm gonna back up. MZ did write in and he asked that when we talk about Marvel Snap, could we talk about some of the players that we use? Who else play in Marvel Snap besides me? Okay. Look at him
in the middle of it.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and give a rundown of my deck that I'm using right now. Okay, I'm using Yondu. He's one of my one-cost cards. I like to start every game off with Yondu, throw him down on a location, let him kill one of your people, so that thins out your deck. I use Agent 13. You throw her down, she's a one-cost card, but she gives you a random card. So I get all kinds of cool stuff that's not in any of my decks. Sometimes that's beneficial, sometimes it's not. From there, I typically like to use Wolverine and then a combination of him and Carnage if they're available, because I'll throw Wolverine down, then I'll throw Carnage down. Carnage will eat Wolverine. That'll give him a +2. Then Wolverine respawns as a 4-power card, and that throws him on another location. Not always, but most of the time he'll drop on a different location. I keep Scarlet Witch in my deck. in case there's a land that I don't want to play. If I don't like the what's going on in there, I'll swap it. Or like I love whenever we get Macho. Have you played Marvel Snap at all?
Very, very small. I might jump back into it, but yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm not speaking a different language to you.
No.
And so with Scarlet Witch, I'll throw her down if, like, let's say you can't play here after turn 4. Nope, we're changing this. That's not how Resident Darrell plays. Or hey, you get a +1 energy this turn. So we've already exhausted this lane. Boom. Let's respawn it. Let's go. Or let's say, Zach, you play all 4 of your cards on a certain lane. Well, I don't want you doing that. So I'm going to throw I'm going to throw
a choice. How about
Scarlet
that?
Witch down in hopes that she turns it to the danger room. We start popping people off, So I use Scarlet Witch pretty regularly. I won't say I play her every round, but if I got her, and a lot of times I'll throw her down like in the very end of a game. Let's say that I don't get like a big 6-cost card because they killed it or something. I'll throw down a bunch of 2s or some combination of, and I'll just throw Scarlet Witch down just for fun, just ruin it, because sometimes she changes the lane and it really screws me over. It really backfires. Sometimes it's something really beneficial and it moves things around and she just totally screws the game up for you at the end. So I really like her. I keep Spider-Woman in my deck because that's kind of one of those high power cards that brings down your value and then gives me some value. I've been trying to play Devil Dinosaur, but I don't think I keep enough in my hand for Devil Dinosaur. I keep Sinister in my deck at all times so that I can multiply on a lane. So let's say I put down on a lane and it says all cards here have a +1, 2, or 5 or whatever. I'll throw Sinister down and he'll multiply, and then that'll give me double the affected amount. Or if I need Carnage to eat up some people and clear some space. And then I keep Cable in my deck because he teleports and takes one of your cards from your deck and puts it in mine. And let's see, I guess my big zinger is Devil Dinosaur and Spider-Woman. I got rid of the Hulk. Hulk was my trump card for the longest time. So that's me. All right, Matt, what is your deck looking like?
Well, because I just played Hulk to hopefully try to cinch this match. I'm still doing a lot of the basic deck, starter deck that they give you, and I think they just screwed me. Dang. First defeat on my new account.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I literally just started making a second deck to try to figure out, something other than the standard. I haven't bought any battle passes, so I'm still just trying to earn cards off of the basic leveling system they have in place. I don't know. It's fun enough. I think I'm in the groove now where I know what I want to do.
I want to do a whole bonus episode, even if it's only like 30 minutes or so, with my son. This kid is a wizard. This game is like his type of game. It's as complicated as you want it to be. He's got like 9 decks. He's got power decks. He's got low cost decks. He's got boost decks. This dude plays a death deck where the whole concept is him killing his own cards and multiplying the power. He's got a deck where, have you seen Infinite yet? Has anybody seen Infinite yet?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Infinite is a card that's a 20 power card.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But the ability on it, the reveal is you can't play anything.
The Infinite.
Infinite, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Sorry, Infinite. So you can't play the round before if you want to use him. So like, at first glance, you can't play round 5 if you want to use him on round 6. So Noah has found a combination where he throws Lady Sith out. She'll discard your highest card. Then he'll play Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider revives your discarded hand and throws it down. So he's got like a 1-2 punch where he can play Infinite without skipping around, and you can play him by turn 5. So like he's a monster with this game. Like he plays constantly. Like he's like a level, I think last time we talked, he was like level 1200. He's probably 1500 now, maybe 2000. Like, but he plays like all day long. If there's the free minute, he's got Marvel Snap going. So, Zach, what are you playing on Marvel Snap?
So I'm playing 2. So I got a weird one that I'm trying to make work because I don't have all the cards that I'd like for it. So it's kind of like a rock. It's called rock control. So I play I play a lot of low cost one drops that control stuff. So I play the Hood to give me a demon in my hand, but it gives me a -3 in whatever zone I play him in. Iceman to increase the cost of one. Korg throws 2 rocks in the opponent's deck. Nightcrawler because I can move them around. Carnage to get rid of all that stuff after I've used their abilities. Goose to lock down an area if I've got like something big on it. I can lock it down from them playing a 4, 5, or 6. Scorpion to drop the power of everything in someone's hand. Storm to lock down an area once I've got it locked. Debris throws out a rock on every empty zone outside of the one she's played on. Rock Slide throws 2 more rocks in your opponent's deck. Professor X to lock down another area, and Spider Woman to control it once somebody plays a bunch of stuff in one spot. So that's kind of the homebrew one I'm working with right now. I like playing control decks. I like playing kind of based off of what somebody else plays. And then the one I've have the most success with is it's Sarah control. So Sarah's I don't have any 6 cost cards in my deck. Sarah drops the cost of everything by 1. So usually by turn 6 is when I'm wanting to drop a bunch of stuff out. But it revolves around comboing with like Hit Monkey, which gets 2 power every time you for all previous cards played that turn. It has Bishop in the deck, which every time you play one, he gains a power, which synergizes really well with Mysterio. So when you play Mysterio, it spawns 2 illusions. But it counts as playing 3 cards. So a 2 drop gives him +3 power. I play a little bit of control. Enchantress, Shang-Chi to destroy their big stuff. Kitty Pryde, which is probably one of my favorite cards to play.
I think we lost you.
Oh, good. It wasn't the only one.
Yeah, everyone looked everyone looked around at the same time.
Oh, okay. So Kitty Pryde. So she
There we go.
Yep, there we go. It accidentally muted me on Zencaster, which is odd. But yeah, so you play her, she goes back to your hand every turn, gains 2 power, but she costs 1. And then she's really good with some of the areas too. She's just good in general. Because by end of game she'd be easily like a 10 drop for 1 cost. So
sweet.
I'm just like your son, and I have like 12 decks.
Dude, this is his type of game though, because like he's always explaining it to me, and he's always explaining his moves and what he's gonna do. I'm like, man, dude, like you make this game is pretty simple at face value. So for like an idiot like me, this is like really cool. But then someone who's intelligent, he makes it out like this is friggin' 4D chess.
It's funny. So just to let you know, they're coming out with a DC version of this game.
I wish.
They are. No, they are. They are.
Same.
It is confirmed. I've seen people get beta access for it so far.
Oh, dude, that would be
They're
sick.
coming out with a DC version of this. It's probably going to be slightly different, obviously, because they can't, 1-for-1 copy it without getting called a bunch of cheaters or a bunch of.
They know where the money's at. They see the money's being really made with Marvel Snap, so they're like, "Hey, why not jump in?"
DC behind the ball again.
It's good, but it's good competition. That's a good thing. We'll see. That means that Marvel Snap may get better. Because now they got competition. So
yeah,
that's good.
See. I'll definitely take it. So that was the only question that I saw. Did you guys see anything that maybe I missed?
No, just, we asked the question since we're covering the topic. What is everybody's favorite Punisher? And I'm going to ignore some of the troll ones. But T. Diddy, you put out there, our boy Tom Jane. Darrell, you put out John Bernthal, which Dan Tucker agreed with. In Discord, I think, what did we have? Discord was just MZ Nitro's comment about Marvel Snap. So I think we covered it.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, then let's get into the topic at hand. Now, when we talked before the show, Macho, you have asked if you could take point on this conversation. You've done a lot of work. You've written a couple essays. Maybe even your college thesis was on Punisher Warzone. I don't know. But before we really get started, there is something that I wanted to show you guys. I have a little bit of show and tell for tonight, and I am very, very excited about it. So excited, in fact, that I just can't stand myself.
Is it Ron Tater Salad White's signature?
No, but that was really funny.
That
And
was hilarious.
the
I was
fact
so
that-
happy.
And I don't know if you were, I know you jumped in and out of the Whatnot auction, but
No, I
Paxton,
was there the whole time.
so Paxton wanted to give it away,
Yeah, I saw that. He gave it away with a copy at 2010.
which is what we bought in there. So
Yeah.
that was just that was fun. That was a really good time. And definitely that was good
Go
stuff.
check out
But
Resident Darrell's video of that. It is his $5 pickup video. It was actually pretty funny.
it was good. It was good. We quite enjoyed ourselves. But yeah, so my show and tell for tonight is this bad boy right here. Now, this is something I've had for years and years and years. I honestly can't even tell you how long I've had this. But this is in the original plastic. Okay. So this is the Punisher Summer Special. All right. This is issue number 1. It says the limited edition package. Only 25,000 of these were made, supposedly. All right. This is number 6,588. And it comes with a number 1 of Punisher Warzone.
Hey.
Wow.
Which
Nice.
I
I
thought
got
was
the same one. That's a really nice one. I like that one.
yes, it is. I think I have this issue separate as well, but I thought this was definitely appropriate for the evening because we're talking about Punisher Warzone.
Man. It's
So-
a die cut cover. It's really nice. The Punisher Warzone one's a really nice one.
Yes, I really like it. So, but yeah, I thought that was really cool. And if it's actually got multiple issues in here, it contains Punisher number 50. All right, this is the landmark 50th issue featuring the Punisher's first confrontation with his newest nemesis, Yo-Yo Ning. It's got Punisher Warzone number 1 and the Punisher Special. So there's 3 issues in here. But this is one of those pieces that I just refuse to open. It's the closest thing I have to a graded copy right now. I was talking with my son's karate sensei tonight, and he has a couple regulars because he owns a comic book store that he runs during the day, and he does the karate stuff in the afternoon. And so he's like, hey, basically, every month, me and my regulars, we pull together all of our stuff we're going to slab, which I've talked to you about this before. And he's like, we're going to send stuff out to be graded. So there's one after my son reads it that all right, I got way more show and tell than I expected. All right, so this one we picked up this week from our good friend T Diddy.
Lethal Protector number 1.
That's right, Venom Lethal Protector number 1. So
Darrell, I just sent that out to CGC to get graded. Not even joking. Just last week.
So Thomas and I, we've been trading games and game adjacent stuff back and forth. Look at that.
It's the trade back because
Yeah.
I sent it out. So I'm like, I want to read all 6 together. There you go.
So
Nice, dude.
that's amazing. So Thomas and I have been trading a bunch of stuff back and forth. And the other day he came over and got some stuff he'd been looking for. And I feel like Thomas's trades are always so generous that I was like, just take them and we'll square up some other time. So basically that was my way of putting him off because I feel like he's kind of overdone it on his end. And so he goes, well, do you have Venom number 1? And he was talking to my son. He wasn't talking to me. And Noah's like, no. He goes, well, now you do. So here you go.
Great cover,
So,
man.
it
This
really-
is such a nice cover, dude.
It is. And here's the thing. I used to own this back in the day and my house burned down. So this is one of the pieces I know for a fact we used to have it. It's gone. So what we're going to do is Noah said today he wants to read it.
Read
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna
It's a good story. Tell him
yeah.
definitely if he can get all 6, which I think number 4 is actually the first appearance of Scream. If he can find it. So if Scream first appearance is in 1 through 6, number 4.
She's
So-
funny.
Heck yeah.
Joe, you get the trade back. Tell me the trade back for like $16 on Amazon.
Heck yeah. Well, we'll totally get it. So there's that. And so anyways, I was like, oh, we're going to grade it. So this will be something we do actually grade. And then I'm going to try to dig out my other Punisher number 1. And I've got the entire Marvel Knights Punisher.
Ooh, yeah.
I've got
Marvel
it
Knights is good.
I've got almost 2 full sets of it. Like I've almost
Nice,
got it
dude.
twice. So we'll send some of those off. But then I let Paxton pick out. We went to the comic shop the other day, and he was like, Dad, he picked out all these Punisher comics and all this Wolverine stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll let you pick 2 books. I'll buy 2 books. So, well, I ended up buying more, but I picked up this copy of Punisher War Journal Base #1, which is a more modern comic. I don't have this one. I picked it up for $2. I don't. Yeah, it's not good.
We could talk about that one later.
So funny story.
Oh,
I stopped collecting modern stuff. I pick up some of the Punisher run that came out about this time, not the War Journal, but the actual Punisher run, and it's fine. But I started looking through my Punisher long box, and the majority of what I have is War Journal. Like I thought,
War Journal, a lot of War Journals, man. It's a lot of War Journals out there. There was a whole arc. There's a whole arc of War Journal, and then Civil War Journal also. Hey, there you go. Nice one, man. I got that one graded too. That's a nice one.
That's awesome.
That's a very famous cover.
And then all my old comics.
And then he picked me up a copy of
Wolverine.
And then any of the Greg Rucka stuff is really good.
Yep.
And then he's getting here to show some more off.
Hey, Spider-Man's, man. Those are nice.
I used to have those too.
Very nice covers, man.
They're hiding in my parents' shed.
Yeah.
Unless they sold them.
The last 2 that we picked up the other day was just Cable. 2 random copies of Cable. Cable number 38 and Cable, I don't know which one this one is, but these covers, dude, holy crap, these covers are so
sometimes it's like the story's like, all right, I do kind of want to read it, but the covers are amazing. I want to grade it just for the covers.
Yes but
it's been limited.
If I'm not mistaken, that's Cable's son in there, but he looks like the Punisher.
Yeah, has that look. Yeah, like
he's got 2 steel. He's got the 2 metal arms though. I got so much glare on here. Yeah. Anyways, really cool stuff. So
shiny.
We picked up a couple comic books. We're going video game and comic hunting this weekend. I see that X Factor over there.
Solid.
But yeah, that was the. There's one more piece I got, but I'll wait till someone else.
Looks like Matt's about to show us this whole.
I know he's got a whole
collection over there.
Look at that silver safer.
And this literally is my life's collection. That's my problem. I'm trying to find all the relevant stuff.
In the meantime, I will show you my Grail, and nice. A very special one is the first appearance of the Punisher. #1 first appearance.
What is that book running now?
A 4.5 would be a little bit over 1,000.
Dang.
Yeah, that's man. Nice. This is the grail of all grails, man. And I don't care too much about the grade. The grade's not a bad actually. 4.5 is not bad, but
dude, yeah.
First one, awesome. That is a keeper forever.
That is amazing.
But yeah, man. Amazing Spider-Man.
Yep.
Well, dude, go figure. Amazing Spider-Man. How many first appearances of so many people is Amazing Spider-Man, because he was the first guy, you know what I mean? Like the first superhero, big one, and everyone's just first appearance of this guy, and in so many of those Amazing Spider-Mans. Who would have thought Punisher and the Amazing Spider-Man? But hey, that was it.
But you know what? That's where I discovered Punisher. It was in Spider-Man.
Yeah. They team up a couple times too. He saved his life in Civil War. Oh man,
that's right.
It's good stuff, man.
And you got to remember back in that 93, 94 animated series, that was the Punisher riding around in his van hunting Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh man,
and he's got his little things like Punisher War Journal entry number 57.
You got to go back to on Disney Plus where you can watch all those all the old ones. That's the main thing Disney Plus has going. I'll give Disney that, man. They got all the old Marvel shows.
Yep, they sure do. That's the best of it. So,
Matt,
what you got, Matt?
So, got.
Hey, there he goes, right
Lethal
there.
Protector.
I see first appearance of Scream.
All 6.
Number 4, right? Am I right at number 4? The first appearance of Scream?
Yes.
Yep, that's it right there. Hey, I would put that in a slip, man. First appearance.
These have not been slipped for years. They're not going to get any worse than what they are.
I have to buy that from him. I don't know.
Look at that.
Carnage Mind Bomb.
Look at that cover, dude.
This is one I actually should put in a slip, but it's already dented and whatnot. I'm missing the third one out of this, but Amazing Spider-Man 362 and 363. So comics 2 and 3 of the
Those
introduction
are Jim
of Carnage.
Lee covers, or are they Rob Liefeld covers?
I think they're Jim Lee, aren't they?
Probably Rob Liefeld because the feet suck. Amazing Spider-Man 375, what was touted as the last battle of Spider-Man and Venom, where they finally decided to separate their ways peacefully, which led into Venom Lethal Protector. Because he left, went to San Francisco, and started that series.
What is this? Is this a Punisher or a Venom episode? What are we doing here?
Punisher adjacent.
Wait, I got it.
What are we doing?
Now it's a Power Rangers episode.
I'm out.
Look at all those shiny covers, though.
So many covers are shiny.
Hey, I've got
$20.99. That's a good one, man.
$20.99. And
I've got a ton of Punisher.
Two more.
$20.99.
Two more.
Oh, Gambit number one.
I have that one somewhere, or did.
And then, since you guys are DC snobs, the sealed Superman Returns.
There you go.
Oh, we're doing the DC snob thing. So I saved something for you. So I saved something for Darrell. Make Darrell go doing, 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 doing.
Here we go. Let's listen to
So
it.
I have
every cow. Yeah.
So they're the three main ones, and then I have every single one shot that they put out for Battle of the Cow as well.
That's amazing.
Wait, Azrael?
Yep.
So
that was I saw him in the game.
And
right. You can play him if you unlock something.
If you have to finish all of his trials.
Yes,
all three of his one shots for Battle of the Cow.
What a cool character, man! What a cool
flaming
character.
sword. Yeah.
So one thing I was really happy about was in this series they actually gave Oracle her own one shot series. Mm-hmm. So she got her own, and she doesn't have she's never had her own standalone comic.
Oracle was again
back. It was Barbara Gordon.
Barbara Gordon. She was the one that got shot by the Joker and got put in a wheelchair.
Yep.
The Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke. Yes, sir.
Yep. And then they did news header ones, and then Gordon got his own.
Yeah, show Matt this, man. Matt's got to put his comics in a slip. I don't know what this guy's doing, man. I can't do that. Man.
When you got that FU money, you ain't worried about it.
Commissioner Gordon. Man-Bat got his own, which I don't know how that happened, but the network.
Man-Bat, yeah.
And then the underground.
Macho's over there putting his stuff, encapsulating it.
Yeah, man, this guy's just throwing them in boxes.
I'm tossing
first appearance to Scream, and I'm like,
I'm just setting mine in a stack right next to me until they go back on the shelf.
Oh my goodness.
Tell you what, Macho.
But most of them
give me my address
covers.
If you want to send me slips and plastic sleeves and cardboard bags,
I might have to, man.
I'll do the work.
Like $10. We're gonna have to send you a little Amazon coupon.
At least put the 6 of the Venoms in. At least the first one and the first appearance of Scream.
Everything else is whatever. Figure out which one to sacrifice here because I got other ones in slips that I'm trying to.
It's unfortunate because Scream kind of got appearance in the second Venom movie, and didn't really go anywhere. Yeah. So I was like, oh man.
I mean, I've got a Venom Run Part 2 in a slip. Maybe I'll just sacrifice that one.
Yeah, get one of those.
No, what I need, I have it somewhere, and I'm losing my mind because I can't find it. I have the first issue of Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is now worth money because, but I can't find it, and I'm really upset and I'm scared and frightened at the same time. Red Hood's my favorites out of the whole.
Let's reel it all back into the Punisher. The reason why we're all here now that we've done shown off all our goodies. Macho, you said that you had an outline for us, so we're going to turn it over to you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right. So we are here for the Punisher Warzone. I'm sure that we all have different opinions on the movie, and we've all recently seen it, and we all have it fresh in our noggins. So I have a little outline of all the notes that I have when I watched the movie. I watched Thomas Jane. I watched the commentary with the movie for the first time and all the special features, the making of, and everything, so I can come prepared for this one. So what I have is Punisher Warzone movie notes. Director is Lexi Alexander, starring Ray Stevenson, Wayne Knight, Dominic West, Julie Benz, Colin Salmon, and Doug Hutchinson. Release year 2008. So the first thing I have is the director said this herself. The director didn't know what Marvel Knights was. She mentioned it in the opening of the movie when the logo was shown, which is kind of interesting to me that she didn't even know what Marvel Knights was, and she still pulled off a pretty comic accurate Punisher movie. So everyone knows here what Marvel Knights is, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I know.
So I have very interesting how much control a director doesn't have in their own movie. The reason I put that is because she said a lot of things that she wanted to put in the movie, she could not. Things that she wanted to do was pulled by the producers and the writers. Have you guys ever heard about something like that? A director really not even in control of the movie?
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I was about to say all the stuff he wanted to do with his trilogy is his 5-film arc, and not being able to, so because of the freaking suits.
All right. And I have the movie is self-aware of the campy style, doesn't take itself too serious. So we'll start with that. What do you guys think about the campy style of Punisher Warzone?
I want to go last.
There, you want to go last? You can go first if you want.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
So when you and I talked a few months back, you mentioned that this was your favorite, and I laughed. I was like, it's so bad. It's so cringy. But upon rewatching it multiple times since then, because I immediately went and rewatched it. Then I rewatched it whenever Ray Stevenson passed away. I rewatched it earlier in the week, and I've had it on in the background all day today. It's on currently right now.
Nice.
Okay. And it is, to me, it reminds me of two things. Okay. It reminds me of the Punisher PlayStation game and Xbox game that came out.
Great game.
Absolutely.
Very fun.
And it reminds me of Ninja Turtles Secret of the Ooze, in a sense that when it's trying to be serious, it's like video game serious. When it's not taking itself serious with the over the top campiness and the weird death scenes and the just the enemy, just the bad guy in here. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like how comic book villain he is. Like it for a comic book movie pre MCU, I think it does exactly what it sets out to do, and it makes a comic book movie. And for that, it has a very special charm, and I think I like it more now than I did whenever you and I first talked about it.
Okay, cool. Houston.
Look, I felt that Billy, aka Jigsaw, was a little too over the top when the Punisher was super serious the whole time. I mean, the Punisher was like the most intense that I've ever seen a Punisher be overall. And again, I understand, the seriousness of the character, what he means, so forth and so on. But there was it never felt like he gave himself time to grieve, even after, can we give spoilers or no?
Yeah, right, Darrell?
Yeah, spoil it up.
Okay. Even after he killed that, the secret, the guy who was undercover
cop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He still never really gave himself a real time to grieve, even in the flashbacks of his family. And, to me, he was just always in serious mode, whereas Billy, aka Jigsaw, was more like, I'm the old campy Joker from the 1970s.
Yes.
So that was kind of a problem for me. And then, trying to use the family for leverage to get to him, that's kind of typical in many, stories, because that's the same one with the Punisher from 2004 with Thomas Jane, which he wanted to do a sequel, but they told him no, which pisses me off.
Yeah, it was to looking at the cover, the box cover, and what you're saying is it's kind of weird that. Well, I don't want to go too far left. We'll definitely come back to that because I don't want to miss out on Bearded and Matt and what they think about the campiness. And I will definitely come back and ask you what you think about that. But Bearded, what do you think about the campiness of Warzone?
All right, so this was my first time ever watching the movie, and I made sure that I watched it last night, so I was fresh for today. The campiness hit me like immediately as the movie started. There was no pause in it. It literally started. I'm gonna catch him tonight. He's gonna be there. I just know it. And I'm like, there's no preface here. I don't get that. Like, okay, well, we know who you're looking for now. Got it. And then the first action scene where he is spinning around
Spinning
on the chandelier.
Yes.
I love
That
it, dude.
fucking killed me. I was like,
I love
and the worst part is the transitions that they used when they were like when they was like throwing knives. You could see the mannequin when they threw the knives. There was like no transition. It was like clearly this person is fake. There was no editing. So overall, so I feel like for me, there was a lot of campiness, but like Darrell said, when it was serious. So you knew when it was campy, you knew when it was serious, but it was like 90% camp and 10% serious.
All right, all good. Okay, Matt.
So just like Zach, the second it started, the over the top violence, and I think there's a difference between over the top violence and brutal violence. And to me, I felt like the Tom Jane Punisher had brutal violence. This had over the top violence that was just violence for violence sake. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Punisher's supposed to be super violent, but it's like the way he scrambled across the tabletop like a I don't know. It's like he teleported halfway across the room just to stab the guy in the neck.
That is one thing I'll never understand is that I have watched this movie like 8 times and I'm like, they're at dinner, the lights go off, he's on the table, and like, did nobody see this dude just walk?
He's huge, dude.
You didn't hear anything. You would think you would hear like, like, who's that on the table?
Don't get me wrong. It's badass. But it's so weird. And I said this before the show and I wanted to hit it here. But in the scene where he blasts the guy in the face with a shotgun while holding the daughter, Zach, you mentioned the mannequins. This was blatantly a mannequin child that he was holding because the arms were T-posing like it was a Bethesda game.
That's good. I respect everyone's opinion on that. I'm not, hey man, I love this movie, but I'm gonna go with it. It's campy. And I think it's great. And I only think it's great because when we'll go through the notes more, but the director said that a lot of this campiness came directly from the comics. So a lot of the head exploding and stuff like that came directly from it. So, which goes into my next note, the opening scene shooting in comic panel like form. So, when the movie started and they showed like it was a comic book, like it's showing the graves of his family and things like that. It's just kind of giving you a quick origin. So it was a quick story origin shown, accurate to the comics. Mob hit witnessed at the park, which is like the comics, unlike the 2004 film and the Netflix show. Shows that the Punisher has been doing this for a while and shown that Frank to have been in the Marines in his past. So the movies can't be, however, this movie really stuck to the accurate origin of the comics. Do you guys like that? Yes or no?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought the origin was good. I thought the flashbacks for his story were good. I think that his look and the heaviness of his Punisher was solid. His time spent in church, just being quiet. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of, collecting himself before the next run, I thought was good because it showed that and here's the thing for me and the Punisher and me and Batman, I'm just attracted to these broken characters that have lost their family and they're just their remainder of their time on this world is mourning and vengeance. Like that's just you see what I'm saying? Like that's just me. That's what I like. That for whatever reason, that's what I'm into. And watching through this movie, it's just like that time of him just it's like I'm killing or I'm in mourning, and that's the baseline for the Punisher. And I think that they did a good job. One of the things, and I know this is a little out of left field, but one of the things I don't like what the Netflix Punisher turned into was they focused so much on his romance and relationship side of things. And you know what I'm saying? Like it just got away from what he is and what he is. Like this dude is broken. And the reason why we have 4,000 issues of comic books where he's just killing criminals was because at his core, they took his family. Batman is Batman because at his core, they took his family. And without that, we have a angel of death essentially unleashed in this world. And that's what I'm attracted to. So I think when it comes to answer your question, his origin story and his character at its core, they nailed. And I think it was great.
Yep. And I think they did it really quick. So it was kind of like Zack Snyder's Batman. We've seen Batman's origin so many times. How many times do we have to see his parents get killed? But Zack Snyder did it pretty quick. He gave you a real quick synopsis. Do you remember what happened? Okay, great. We're going to do a really quick, stylish, and then we're going to get straight to the movie. So with the accurate comic to the comic book in this movie, it was like little comic snips. Like you saw it. Okay, he was in the Marines and stuff like that. I like that it's accurate to the comics. So the next one, I would say opening scene of the movie was actually taken from the Punisher Max comic. Some changes, the comic by Garth Ennis. So the opening scene where he went into the mansion, the only change was instead of doing the shooting inside the mansion, he shot the main mob guy in the beginning, ran around back. He waited for all the mafia guys to come out, and then he mowed them down with a Gatling gun. So instead of doing that inside, he did it on the outside. I would like to have seen a more clearer Punisher skull. Way too faded. However, I really do like the Punisher outfit. So I liked his armor, but one of my gripes is I did not like that you could barely see the Punisher skull. It seemed like it was faded. What you guys think?
I don't like it, and for the simple fact that I didn't like the neck protector. The neck protector is dumb. And the reason it's dumb is that's like to protect from like blasts and shrapnel and stuff like that. It's meant for a reason, and they didn't really like utilize that. Like if they would have gave it a practical purpose, it doesn't have a practical purpose because it was really, they didn't do anything that would give it a purpose, and it just obstructed his face too much. I do agree that the Punisher logo was too faded. You could barely see it in some scenes, especially some darker scenes. It just looked like a dude wearing a ballistic
all
vest.
black. He just looked like he was just wearing a black jumpsuit. I'm like, where's the skull? All right. So the movie was shot in Montreal. The movie wasn't shot in New York at all. Every shot of New York you saw was just stock shots, pictures that they had. That's it. The whole entire movie was shot in Montreal. I put that it was very comic bookish, goof.
That's why the movie sucked, because it was shot in Canada.
It was very cold, they said. So I have the very comic bookish, goofy-ish bad guys, over-the-top violence, kind of unrealistic, but fits the direction, which we've already discussed. I said solid villain, actual villain, which from the comics was his arch enemy to the Punisher. The story was okay, could have been a bit better. So what we kind of discussed what we thought about Jigsaw, which was an actual villain from the Punisher comics, which I liked. I think that the Jigsaw in this movie was better than the Jigsaw in the Netflix show. I think he looked more like Jigsaw. His origins, and he was definitely 100% accurate to the comic books. The Netflix Jigsaw, he was in the army. He was a friend of the Punisher, Frank. And when he messed his face up, it didn't really look like it really did anything. So comparison, what do you guys think about the story? Just the story in general. Matt, go ahead.
So coming from an outsider, I do agree. I actually saw a meme earlier today when I was looking to post the Facebook group picture where it was like, ground through glass, and it showed the movie Jigsaw, and it's like pushed up against the mirror and shot through the face, and it showed the Netflix. I feel like this Jigsaw, they both played the mental disturbed individual differently. Like you all said, the movie Jigsaw was more Jokerish, more kind of crazy. And that is sitting next to his brother, who they broke out of the loony bin to assist. And so if you look crazy next to a guy from a loony bin, that's saying something.
Yeah.
I love the makeup and aesthetics. The only thing is they need to pay attention, because I hate doing this because I listen to a lot of podcasts that trash our favorite movies. But if he was that bad, his hands would have been jacked up. And the entire movie, I just saw pristine, clean hands. I'm like, makeup artists need to catch that one.
What do you think,
They were
Darrell?
too busy using mannequins.
I think as far as the story is told, it's fine. It's serviceable. I think that I have some real big grievances with the way he recruits the other gangs and what he does. And I don't know if Heath Ledger watched this and said, okay, I know what not to do when I become the Joker and I start recruiting people, because he essentially does the bushwhacker march to the different gangs, and it is so stereotypical gang stuff that it's just so
Yeah.
corny. He goes
It really
into the nightclub and all the gangsters are in there, and then like 50 dudes pull guns out and they're turning them all sideways. They're gonna make the kill shot. I'm like, and as he's talking, there's an American flag flying behind him, like he's trying to recruit them.
He says, "We need a few good men."
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid.
Goofy.
And then his loony bin brother is just like got some kind of weird techno beat going on in his head, and he's tweaking. But like, and then he goes to the Yakuza, and it's like the same amount of dudes all sitting around one guy. I'm like you couldn't have stereotyped these groups any harder.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think somebody literally searched and said, typical gang.
Typical gang of New York. Yep.
Give me typical Irish guys, typical Asian guys, give me typical black guys.
Yep.
You got it. It's pretty straightforward, man.
That's right.
Houston, what do you think about the story?
I think the story wasn't bad at all. The only problem I have is just how it was, I guess, put together. In other words, some what's the best way to say it? Some frames seem out of place, for one. Two, I just didn't like how, like with the family and then them trying to put pressure and all that other stuff. It seemed kind of unnecessary, and that story's been done to death. It's been done to death. Do something else. And again, you know, I do like the physicality, and I think everything that Residence Darrell had to say about him being like the physical beast and looking the part, because look, the other people do not look the part. He looks the part. And the main thing I can say about the Punisher himself, you know, I didn't feel like he was like mentally tormented, like, you know, other Punishers in the past, or just a Punisher, or how I feel about the Punisher in general, because Darrell said it pretty good. But the way I feel about the Punisher is that not only is he an angel of vengeance, but he knows there's no chance, there's no redemption for him. He knows he's just going straight to hell. Everything that he's doing now is on a one-way collision course, and he can't stop. He's done. He can you know, relive every past. He's not. It's not that his family died; it's that he couldn't do more to die with them, or he couldn't have just, you know, saved them. And that's what tears at his soul as a man, and tears at his soul that he couldn't save his people and he didn't die with them. And now he's on a one-way collision course that's never going to end until they put him down. He's going to be that rabid animal until they put him down. And that's what, to me, is what makes the Punisher who the Punisher is, because there's so many things tearing at his soul, and he's trying to find that reason to keep going on. And the only reason that he has is, I'm going to destroy everything that's effing evil, period.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Bearded?
Story. It was okay. So I haven't read a lot of the Punisher comics, so I wouldn't really know. I did feel like it didn't really give, like, there wasn't really much of a story in my personal opinion. It like I said, it was kind of like an hour and a half of
a snuff film.
It's more like an hour and a half of like a television crime drama.
I see that.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what that's what it felt like. It felt like it was another Law and Order episode where they're trying to find and save this kid or this kid and their parent. Jigsaw Billy was really cool. I think the way that they presented him as a character was dope. And like I said, I liked his aesthetics. I didn't really like a lot of his lines. I don't feel like he was very well written. I feel like they could have written him better. And same with his brother too. His brother was just like kind of there. He didn't really. He had these one random lines. It's like Butters from Trailer Park Boys just say something random stupid to catch your attention.
All right.
I feel like they spent more money on the music budget than they did the actual movie itself because
I have notes on that. Yeah.
hit 23 on the Billboard on the charts.
Yeah. But in my opinion, I would say the story, it was kind of, it was a little comic book-ish. It went from the Punisher trying to go for Jigsaw, then Jigsaw getting away, then Jigsaw doing this Russian deal to get this thing into the States, and then it was the Punisher trying to protect the family, and the Punisher. It was just a lot going on. So I would say, yeah, the story was kind of just jargon altogether. So my next one I have is. The movie wasn't too long. It was short and sweet. I liked that the movie just it was not 2 hours. It wasn't even 2 hours long. So it was once it got going, it got going. The Punisher's knife was custom made for the movie. The soundtrack, including Slipknot. What do you guys think about the soundtrack?
The soundtrack was dope. And I was reading earlier, just kind of doing I was doing a little bit of information, just kind of on the time and place, how it did in the box office and stuff. And apparently it bombed. It bombed in the box office, but that soundtrack debuted at 23 on the Billboard's Top 100 when it came out. So that was pretty good.
Makes sense.
I did want to call back to something real fast.
Yeah.
We were talking about how stereotyped the enemies were. And there's a dude in the Yakuza who has Chinese writing on his face, but one leg of the writing looks like it's smudged. And it's supposed to be a tattoo, but it's so bad. And we were sitting there talking, and it did a close up on his face. I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that."
He probably scratched his face. Oh
yeah, Americans have Chinese writing on them. Yakuza's not going to write something in his face like that.
Yeah, this movie's something. But all right, cool. So the director said there was a controversial thing on the scene killing a woman. If you guys remember in the opening scene where he slid through the table and cracked that woman's neck,
that old lady just snapped her neck. Yeah,
yeah. So it says the director. They wanted to take that out of the movie, but the director, she's pretty cool, man. She said, if she's bad, she's bad. She's a threat. It shouldn't matter if she's a woman or a man. If she's trying to kill the Punisher, you die. That's it. So that was interesting. That I'm glad that she kept that in. Soap from the comics is in the movie. What you guys think about Soap? The detective that was kind of on the Punisher's side. What you guys think about him? Was he a funny character? But he is from the comics. What you think?
He was fine.
He was just there.
He was fine.
What was it? Was he stupid in the comics too?
Yeah, he was kind of a joke in the comics. In the comics, actually, he accidentally has sex with his mom. Don't ask me how that happens, but don't ask me how that happens. Don't ask because
Macho's like, here's your random fact for the day. He has sex with his mom.
Yeah, that's a weird one. It's believed to have happened. Very weird.
He said, "I've got that episode. I've got that issue graded."
Yeah, Jesus. All right, so this is the big note here, which I definitely want to hear everyone's opinion on this. Ray Stevenson as a Punisher. I put great job. What do you guys think? Darrell, what do you think about Ray Stevenson as a Punisher?
I think he is a great Punisher in a mediocre movie. I think, like we established earlier, he's got the look, man. He's got the Punisher look. He's huge. He's just a big dude. And then they put that bodysuit on, that body armor suit. Zach said he didn't like it. I liked it. Now I get it's a ballistic suit that looks like you'd wear if you're going in the bomb squad or something. But it looks like a piece of body armor that protects him from getting shot in the neck, And it gives him that almost Gears of War, just huge human build. And for me, it's Now I don't think it's the best Punisher skull ever spray painted on a vest. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little cartoony, but I think that it's serviceable. And I think he did a good job as the Punisher. I think he has a good look. And you know what I'm saying? Like I liked him overall. I would have watched multiple more movies with him as the Punisher had they been able to continue. I would rank him over Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher for sure.
All right. Houston.
Well, he could actually speak English, where it took Dolph Lundgren like half his lifetime to learn how to speak the language.
He does.
Exactly. Now, I really think he's a good Punisher. He does have the comic book look. He's physical. He's huge, unlike the short guy who plays him now. And the short guy's as tall as me. So
Thank you. I agree. He's too short. He has the face. He has the hair. He's too short.
And his body type's not strong enough. And that ballistic suit is perfect because the Punisher is like a tank. And the reason why he has the symbol, a lot of people tend to forget this, is so people will focus all their bullets going toward that center area, and that way it's easier for him to shoot them and kill them because they're too focused on that from time to time. At least in my opinion. You may think differently about that, Macho. I really think he covers everything. What makes him a better Punisher than most Punishers, he has little to no dialogue. And that's the way it should be.
That's what it should be. Yep.
And, you don't need to have him like, oh, I got a love story. No, Punisher doesn't love anybody. He's tormented, and he's not trying to find love. He's not trying to have friends. He's not trying to do all that. He's just trying to just destroy evil immediately. Akzukzan.
That's it. Bearded.
All right. So I feel like I feel the same way Darrell felt. Kind of. I feel like he played. His acting wasn't bad. I feel like he got put in a bad movie. That's how I feel. I feel like if it would have been a different situation, maybe more of a serious movie, then he would have nailed it. But with the campy style of this movie, it was not for him. He, like I said, did great. Loved his character. Loved when he spoke, but bad execution on the movie.
Understandable, Matt.
So to go back, I hated the skull. I truly hated it because it looked like somebody took painter's tape and squared off everything and then ever so lightly spray painted it. To your point, T. Diddy, yes, it's meant to be a focal point. It's also meant to be a symbol of fear that they know if they see that, they are dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That said, I loved him in this movie. He held it up. Other than maybe Dominic West, which, my only familiarity with him was from The Wire, which he was great in that. Yep. And I think he was good in this too for what he had to do. But obviously, out of all of them, Stevenson held up the film. And that's saying something because they also had Julie Benz in here. And I don't know why, but her acting pissed me the hell off. It's like when she's holding the gun, the way she's pronouncing words and saying things was just irking me.
She was really trying to do that New York accent. I don't think she could. She couldn't really pull it off.
Failed horribly. But I love Stevenson. I loved him in this. I loved him in Dexter. I loved him in G.I. Joe Retaliation as Firefly. He has such a wide range, and for him to carry the gravitas and the demeanor that Punisher has, I think he did very well, differently than what Jane did, differently than what Bernthal does. And the only other thing I'll say about that neck protector certainly didn't protect him from getting his ass bit.
The truth, that dude took a chunk out of his neck. He got it all up in.
Good thing for that neck protector, so good. But I understand all of you. And now, Darrell, go back to you with the skull. Yeah, the skull. You say it was like it would look cartoony, but it's like the whole movie was cartoony. So you would think they would embrace and brighten up that skull, since the whole movie's kind of cartoony. You would think that, well, we might as well just brighten this thing up and make it look even more cartoony. But it's like they were afraid to show the skull because they thought it was too comic bookish. But I'm like, dude, the whole movie is a big comic book movie. Just go with it. If anything, it's going to make it better. But Yeah.
when in the grand scheme of the skulls, because the skulls for me, like that's as iconic as the bat logo. Like there's certain ones that I just think are bangers, and there's some that I think they missed the mark. And I keep holding up this special edition of the Thomas Jane Punisher because the skull comes off.
Oh, that is awesome.
And that is my favorite skull personally. And I just think that it's so well done. And the cool thing about this particular skull is that whenever you spray paint it, it just runs, and it's awesome. In this one, it's like you got this beefy piece of chest armor, and the skull is, like you were saying, it's very faded. It's very
and it's small too, right? It doesn't look like it should take up the whole thing.
Yes, it should be your whole chest piece, and it's got cool eyes because I think that's another. It's got the more armor-ish pointy eyes, you know. But
it looked more comic bookish. Like I know that the one you have, the skull that he has, is very universal for the skull. You'll see like on Jeeps and stuff like that. But the skull, the old skull, is kind of like what he had. It's just you couldn't really see it. I just would have been bigger, more in your face, like Batman's suit. You know, it's Batman. You don't have to question, is that Batman? Yes, it's Batman. He has, look at his freaking helmet, or look at his
I would have preferred, because if you look at on the Warzone,
I love the Warzone skull. It's awesome. Like
it's the whole chest piece.
Just imagine
the one in the die cut, real quick. The one, if you open it, if you did the die cut one, when you open it, that skull, I have that on a shirt. That's the one behind the red is really good. Go ahead, Matt.
Just imagine how badass that light up scene with the flare would have been. If instead of his face, you just saw the white skull against his silhouette.
And you kind of saw it. They kind of tried to make that happen, but like guys, you could have made it so much better. Like you said, Matt, it could have been so much better. Like all you see is a skull. That means all you're going to see is death, because it's too late. The guy's on the table. Don't ask me how he got there, but he's there.
How about this? I want to. This is kind of dialing it back again. But when he was hanging from the chandelier and he's spinning in slow motion shooting, but like the bullets never actually affect the way he spins and shoots. It's like
it's steady aim.
Well, to be fair, I did take notice of that, because what he did was one arm was extended and one arm was crossed. Yep. So he was aiming in the same direction as opposed to two opposite directions. So it's a little weird. And that goes back to the whole cartoony nature of it. And I get what they were going for, but I think they could have done that without the chandelier. He could have
just spun on the table.
And done that.
We'll put that as Bearded's favorite scene. So
the funniest part about that too is that is the only scene in the movie where he doesn't reload.
No,
doesn't. Every other part in the movie, he shoots an appropriate amount of bullets and then reloads, which is awesome.
The net piece gives you infinite ammo. Moving on.
Cheat code.
All right, so I said the director saw a guy fix his broken nose in real life, so she wanted the Punisher to do the same in the movie. You remember when he fixed his nose with the pencil in the car? So she saw that in real life, and she's like, "That's a pretty cool thing. That seems like the Punisher would do that." Side villains. Okay, so here we go. Side villains were okay. The Jump Boys, I call them. Not great. A little filler. Seems like the side villains in a comic book, so not horrible. What did you guys think about the Jump Boys? And you know who I'm talking about. The three amigos. What you guys think?
Those dorky dudes. What
you guys think about those guys?
I was trying to figure out why they were trying to combine like a Jamaican dude and an Australian dude. I couldn't figure it out.
She said that in the director's cut. She's like, I don't know why they try to do that. They said that, like, why are we trying to make this dude sound like this? I don't know.
I was trying to figure it out. I was like, why is this man Jamaican and British at the same time? What is going on?
I love that as quickly as they were in, they were out.
I was like, oh, dang, parkour.
Houston, what you think about the side villains? Houston, we have a problem.
D-Titty question. Side villains.
Oh, he's gone, dude. Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
It's all right, man. What you think about the side villains, the Jump Boys?
They need to jump off the freaking cliff. You know, they're almost as bad as Kofi Kingston when he dropped his Jamaican accent when he was talking to Triple H.
Randy.
What you guys think about the missile launch in the air blows the guy up midway when he's jumping? I loved it. I don't know about you guys.
That is the kind of over the top violence I love.
That was comic book.
How about kills like 50 dudes in that one hallway? Which that hallway, by the way, is one of the widest hallways ever. Like, holy crap! But then he gets to the elevator, and there's that one fat dude just sitting in there, and he shoots him. And his head
goes, "Oh, come on!"
I love it, dude. That was just, she's like, hey, this is comic stuff. I think that actually happened in one of the comic books. She's like, yeah, we're going to throw it in. So, hey, I respect it, man. I respect it. If it's a comic book movie, embrace it, I guess. Okay, side story of Punisher accidentally killing a police officer was okay, not bad. It showed the Punisher with some emotion of a bad mistake, which we went over already, so we'll get past that. This is what I put, another damper. It would have been nice to see the Punisher with more gadgets and weaponry. What do you guys think about that? Was it enough guns for you? Would you like to have a little bit more diversity with the guns and gadgets? Bearded, what do you think about? Was it enough diverse, or would you like to have seen more gadgets and weaponry?
More guns. I think he had that. I guess it was an AR. I guess you consider an AR that he assembled. Mm-hmm. But that was about like the most diverse thing that they showed, and it was like the smallest portion of the movie. He had that
whole armory behind him, and
all he used was pretty much the same 3 pistols, and then that AR for like a couple of scenes, and that was it. Yeah, so they, he's resourceful. He's resourceful, and he has all this training, and he's supposed to have all this other stuff that he's done under his belt, but he doesn't utilize any of it.
Okay. All right. The next thing I have. Go ahead.
I'm gonna disagree because from what I was told, they wasted a bunch of their budget on horse crap, and they couldn't afford some of the guns that they actually needed for the set. Did you look that up or no?
No. What happened? Tell me.
Okay. So what happened was they were way over budget, and they didn't make back not even half the money they're supposed to make on the theater release, because they spent more money on this one than they did on the one for the 2004 one with Thomas Jane. Jesus. And they just didn't have enough weapons. And thing is, they spent all their money on like 2 or 3 big shots, and then they didn't have enough budget money to cover some of the other shots. That's why some of the ones were just corridor shots that were much more easier to do, and then use the same guns over and over again. And again, like Bearded Nerd said, having all that training from being in the military, and plus he was a hands-on kind of guy, and not getting physical and doing at least a couple of judo throws or a couple of techniques of choking people out or snapping a couple of necks here and there, because it makes it look even that much more cooler. I mean, think about this: when you watch John Wick, sometimes John Wick is basically just doing 2 or 3 moves and then shooting people, but he's doing a couple of moves before he shoots somebody, rather than like, I'm just openly shooting somebody.
That makes sense. Yep. What you think, Matt?
What gets me about, and I'm glad you brought it up, the budget, Thomas, because I just saw so many silly CGI decisions for the sake of being over the top that could have just been done normally. Yes, I know Jigsaw is crazy, and he breaks the glass stem and stabs it into the guy's throat, and that was blatantly CGI. There were no practical effects showing that glass stem went through. He could just be unhinged, picking up a gun and shooting the guy in the head across the table. You didn't need to go silly kill for that.
Yeah.
And you could have gone into better preparation in other areas, like not making it look like mannequins are in the background or being held when people are getting shot.
Got you on that. All right. We'll move on. Microchip, his sidekick, played by Wayne Knight. I think killing Microchip was lame. More Microchip would have been nice. More interaction with his sidekick. Good choice of actor. I think Wayne Knight did a pretty good job as Microchip. If you know him in the comics, you know that he did a pretty good job as Microchip. Cool Punisher den, his hideout. Gun rack showed really cool lighting and atmosphere. That's what I have in the hideout. That was pretty cool. Billy the Butte becoming Jigsaw was better than Netflix Jigsaw transformation. Also looks a lot more like the comic. So we talked about it earlier. The way that he became Jigsaw in this was a lot more brutal than the way he became in the Netflix show. So I took note on that. Do you guys agree with that?
So, a couple things. I think that the way he became Jigsaw was more brutal because you're getting churned in a giant thing, making like breaking up glass.
Yeah.
But the actual fight in the Netflix Jigsaw setup was more brutal in the sense of like the nature of how and why. Like that was so much passion. And when he's beating his face into that mirror, like, that was super violent, but yet super grounded. This Jigsaw going into the vat of, glass getting churned, it was very Joker. And we got a very Joker character. Also, well, it's believable in the sense that how did he get out of there? How are his limbs completely intact? How is he in such good condition? He can do the bushwhacker march, but yet his face is all.
R.I.P. Luke.
Yeah. He would have been in
much more
EMT knowing that he would have been that guy would have eviscerated, man. I think I don't think he would have survived that because being cut up like that, your face is the only thing getting cut up. Your whole body's being cut up, so it's slicing through all your clothes. If it's slicing through your face, I would say like you would have cut arteries, it would have cut ligaments, it would have cut through muscle. Yeah, you're done. I say that I agree with Darrell. Darrell, I think that the way that he messed his face up in Netflix, I feel like if he would have done that the way they did in Netflix, but the outcome was the way he looked in Warzone was the outcome he looked like in Netflix because his face just looks like he fell off a bike. That's not Jigsaw. Yeah. Jigsaw was completely hit Billy the Butte. They call him Billy the Butte because he's a good-looking guy. All the girls want him. But then he goes a 180 and turns into a hideous-looking guy. But you see the guy in Netflix, Jigsaw, he just looks like he fell off a bike. It's not even, doesn't really, any girl would still probably date that guy.
Which I think
girls did date that guy.
Yeah, still, it's like that.
I say, do you want to do? That's all they did was date.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Like, this was supposed to be a complete 180, but didn't look like he did much.
Yeah, I think that the way this Jigsaw looked was way more, maniacal, more mutilated.
Like the comics, yeah. Just
I just wish it was darker, like a darker presentation, because like his face is so like Two-Face style messed up, but his presentation was so Jack Nicholson Joker. You know what I'm saying? Like if they would have dialed it back, like he was a beautiful man who was then mutilated. Maybe he hides in the shadows. Maybe he, you know what I'm saying? Like wears a mask. Maybe he does things to conceal his identity.
I know you have a hatred for anime, but the person you would be thinking of that he could basically mimic himself after would be Jackie from Fist of the North Star, which is one of Ichiro's brothers who was disfigured by Kinshio after he tried to kill Kinshio. And I would strongly recommend you pay attention to his like whole little thing. I know you're never going to watch it, but if for some reason you do, you would love it. And like you said, it's a great anime.
Yeah, it's a good anime.
That's who he should have mimicked himself after.
Think about Black Mask, okay? And from the DC universe, he wears that black mask, white suit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but he's a good-looking guy.
But okay, but now let's say Jigsaw. You know what I'm saying? Like he gets his face mutilated, and then he decides to wear an almost Army of Two style mask. Like something just.
Yeah,
like
that would be
they
cool.
could take
Those
a
are
bullet.
such good masks, by the way.
And then you could build the reveal to where him and the Punisher finally have their showdown. And then you see how mutilated his face is. See, you could have negated, now granted this is hindsight 2020 on this stuff. You could have negated so much of the unnecessary camp if you would have just put a mask on him. And if he's out recruiting and it's like, whoa, this dude's wearing a pimp white suit with this mask that looks like he could seriously take a buckshot and still keep going. Like That's and gloves, you know what I'm saying? Again, to cover up how mutilated his skin is, that would be a whole nother ball game. And then at the end, when he's finally having the reveal, you know, he pulls the mask off or the Punisher knocks the mask off, then you see what you're really up against. To me, that would have added some layers to it, and it would have, you know, negated some of the goofiness personally.
Makes
but
sense.
I think that, you know, if they did it again, which there's no way they would do a third Jigsaw at this point.
Yeah.
If we ever get another Punisher, it's going to be something completely different.
Yep. And I mean, if I'm correct, Jigsaw was more of a serious, kind of like a Two-Face in the comics. He wasn't so goofy or Joker-ish in the comics. I guess they looked at it as we can't have two serious guys. We have to have one serious guy, one kind of serious, but not too serious. So I guess what? I don't agree with it. I think they should have went with a serious tone for him and not so goofy.
Mm-hmm.
I said, director says she pulled shots right from the comic, which I can appreciate that. Not a fan of Looney Bin Jim. Even though it kind of seems like a villain from the comic, I didn't care for his character too much. The Russian side villain, like from 2004, would have been better, in my opinion, or something else. Also, I didn't care too much for the gangbanger character Carlos. So Carlos I didn't care for, and Looney Bin Jim I did not care for. Bearded, what do you think about Looney Bin Jim?
Like I said, I felt like he was like that random Bubbles character that just said stupid stuff to get your attention and make you laugh. So I say on it's on a level of campiness with him, like like it was in the original Power Rangers series when they're trying to talk to a villain. It's just more adult oriented instead of kid oriented. Everything is campy. Everything he says is just out of left field, makes no damn sense half the time. I wish they would have gave a little bit more serious, like made him more of a Heath Ledger style, but not with Heath Ledger Joker's intelligence. A more serious, like out of his mind guy.
Yeah, like a psycho.
Got it.
But
Yeah, like a Victor Zsasz.
Yeah.
Victor Zsasz is from DC, right?
Yeah, he's a
Counterman?
He's a Batman villain that every time he kills somebody,
he cuts himself, right?
Yeah, he puts tick marks all over his body. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, okay. Matt, what do you think about Looney Bin Jim?
I hated it. I honestly, it's when you have a crazy character already in the way of Jigsaw, you need a counterbalance. And I would have liked to have seen, like you said, the Russian, where it could have been a silent
muscle,
deadly muscle, where you know he was doing deals with a different group, and it could have been, oh, you killed my guy, I'm sorry, you know, or my guy stepped out of line, you killed him. Here, let me make it up to you and give you some assistance for your initiative or plan, whatever it is. And you could have introduced the Russian that way. And I think that would have been a lot better. I think adding in Looney Bin Jim was just, let's just have, like Zach said, let's just have a crazy guy and have him spout weird shit all the time. That'll be funny, right? That's comic. Yeah. But again, because of what they were doing with the movie and because they wanted to be so comical in both the literal and figurative sense, it makes sense why they added him. I hated it.
Okay. Yeah, same here. Darrell, what did you think about Looney Bin?
I think that he was an awful character, and they should have used Colin Farrell's Bullseye from the Daredevil movie. I think first off, Bullseye would have been definitely a much better side character. And I think that the nature and like just how goofy the guy was, that like it kind of would have just worked better. You know, like having something of that nature in there, you know. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. I think that him being kind of goofy and then Jigsaw being kind of goofy, like
too much. I agree. It's too much. The other guys, the other two mafioso guys that with them seemed the most serious. Yeah. The father and son, and then but you didn't see, they're just there. So it was too much goofiness going on between two. All right, so this is a scene that was taken out of the movie that you guys can see if you think could have been better or not. A scene where kids see Jigsaw for the first time run away screaming when they saw him. However, one kid stayed and said to him, "You look like my Jigsaw puzzle." That is a scene where Jigsaw takes on the name. However, he got his name, but the scene was deleted. Jigsaw saw a billboard instead and chose that name. The director didn't like that scene. She thinks that the scene of the kids seeing Jigsaw and running away, and the kids saying, "Hey, you look like my Jigsaw puzzle," and that's how he got his name. Instead of the movie, he just looks at after he kills his doctor, his surgeon, he looks outside, sees a billboard of a Jigsaw, and then he takes on that name. Do you guys think that the kid one sounded better, or do you think the billboard, what they said, was better? Bearded, what do you think?
Yeah, the kid one definitely would have been better. I think the billboard was like it was a little rushed. I feel like they could have spent that extra 5 minutes to
flesh it out.
To flesh it out, give him a little bit more of a purpose and why he took on that name.
Okay, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, again, but the problem is it was all comical. The way he said it, that guy's dead. Call me Jigsaw.
Yeah,
it was just so over the top and unnecessary. And I think having the kid in there would give some gravitas to it because it would show, it's a name to be feared. It's supposed to make you run in terror. Instead, it's just, it's goofy. I look like a Jigsaw, so I match that. So I'm going to call myself Jigsaw now.
Yeah, it's funny that the director actually said that she didn't want that. And we remember when in the beginning when I said that how much control a director doesn't have in their own movie. She said that they took that out the movie, that they didn't want that scene for some reason. They just want to clip it in. Oh, he sees a billboard. Call me Jigsaw. 5 minutes ago, bro, you hated what you look like. Now all of a sudden you want to embrace it. I still be crying if I look like the way you did. Darrell, what do you think? Kids or no kids?
I think both are too on the nose. I think that it should have been something like Arrow season 1, where a newspaper's thrown down and it says the Jigsaw Killer strikes again, or something of that nature, where it's in the background and it's just obvious enough for you to know that Jigsaw, but not that it's ever directly said.
Look at what they did in the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. J. Jonah Jameson was the guy that came up with the names, not the villains themselves. Everybody knows you don't get a cool name by naming yourself. It's something given to you. It's something applied. And for a villain to go out there and just say, "Oh, this is my name now. This is what you're going to call me." Now, if they're going to do that, what I'd like to see is somebody else go, "Hey, Billy, bam, he kills him. What did I tell you guys?"
Yeah, right.
It shows them how serious they are about this.
Yeah, it's like a nickname your friend gives you. Hey, whatever. They call you a nickname, and you just go by. It's usually someone gives you the name and you kind of just run with it. So I think that the villains, most of the time, it's the innocents come up with the villain's name. Superheroes, I think most of the time the superheroes come up with their own name, but they get a little bit of talking to about it from the outside world. But villains usually come up with their name from people that start calling them that. What do you think, Beard? Oh, go ahead, Darrell. What do you think?
I was going to say, I had a guy that I used to work with who gave himself a nickname, and we ridiculed him unmercifully for doing that. So giving yourself a nickname is automatically -5 cool points, in my opinion.
All right. Beard?
Like I said before, the other scene would have been cool. I don't know, obviously it was comic accurate, but I feel like maybe they could have given him another name. I think comics maybe hit on it just because the way they had to reconstruct his face and how he looked in this one. But definitely, it's not a name that I would be oh no, look, Jigsaw's coming. I'm no, okay. I'd be oh look, it's a kid's puzzle.
Okay. Yeah. Director wanted to be campy. She actually said this herself. She wanted over the top villains inspired by the comics and 80s action films, which I think she kind of went directly on the nose about that. The missile hitting the guy directly is hilarious. I thought it was funny too. She said the director had people write into her about how they busted out laughing in the theater. She said she admired it and it was the whole point. Ray Stevenson did a lot of reading of the comic books based on the Punisher, and I put, and no, not all actors do that. So what do you guys think about an actor actually putting in the effort and the research and time to flesh out the character they are playing? Darrell.
Okay, I'm glad you said me first because this is something I really want to talk about. And I think that is crucial to understanding the character you play. And I think that the people that do it are always the ones that walk away with the best legacy for their character. He researched the character.
My example.
He researched his character and he nailed it. John Bernthal, when he got announced as the Punisher, there you go.
Hey.
He posted him and a stack of the Marvel Knights Punisher comics, and it was like, booyah. He knows the source material. He knows what he's going for. An example of the contrary, the chick that played Storm in the most recent run of X-Men movies had never read a comic and said that. She had no clue who she was playing or how she was supposed to play him. And then you have people like
out in the street and beaten.
Dude, that Brie Larson has no clue anything about Captain Marvel or Carol Danvers, the original one.
Did you hear what they told?
Marvel.
What's his name? John Cena's character. What's he?
Not to read.
Peacemaker.
Not to read the comics.
He said, yeah, exactly. He said, "Don't read it. Don't read the comics. We're gonna make up our own."
Captain America.
Don't read the comics. Yeah. What do you mean? Don't read? You are basing this off a character that's been around, that's already made. Don't read? So what are you gonna come up with something? It's just dumb. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because they're using the source material and the IP that's already established as a leg up to get an IP out there that's going to make some money. Mm-hmm. But then they go, well, we couldn't create something on our own that's going to get us this type of exposure. So we're going to take this over here. Now we're going to change it. See, that's the biggest problem we have right now with all of this stuff is that we have all these writers and all these creators who can't. Yeah, absolutely. Disney. They come up with something good on their own. They can't come up with something fresh. But what's popular right now is the stuff we've been exploring for 30, 40, 50 years. And so like, you know what? We're just going to take the Punisher and we're just going to do our own thing with it because we have the keys to the castle. And fill in the blank with Punisher with any other comic book or, cartoon IP, something like right now. I mean, we're getting all of our stuff is getting crapped on, I would gladly take another 10 campy Punisher movies than what we're getting with this new stuff because these movies are getting worse and worse.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen with Disney Plus and how the Punisher's over there now? I have no clue. And the way that I don't want to go too sidetracked, but the way the comics went and what they're doing with the comics of the Punisher now, and the way that we talked about this in Houston's podcast.
Bro, killing the Punisher, saying his wife didn't love him, was going to leave him.
You're going to make me. I'm going to throw something. I don't want to get it.
And now there's a new Punisher.
Yeah, well, right through these notes, I'll definitely fill you guys in. But with what we said, Bearded, what do you think about an actor doing the research and finding out who they're playing?
So, all right, so my two examples. So one prevalent to now, especially is like Henry Cavill and his Witcher. That man is an encyclopedia of Witcher novel knowledge.
Geralt, man.
He said, he is Geralt. He says anything, like he's made suggestions and they've changed the script because of things he said. This happens in the book. I think this would be better. And I think that's really played a key role in how well the series is done. Yes, Thomas?
No, those women writers didn't listen to him, and they're garbage ass writers. They should have listened to him word for word. Those sorry bitchs shouldn't have. They should have shut the fuck up and listened to the man who actually gives a shit about the damn series for one. And they should have basically said, you know what? We're actually going to read it like you did. We're actually going to have a real take on it rather than just interpreting what The Witcher is. They didn't even play the fucking. You could at least play the fucking game, for crying out loud. I mean, and you could have had a standpoint, but the fact is you wouldn't read it. You did your own source material. You shit all over it. You made Henry Cavill fucking leave. That pisses me off to no fucking end because the guy loved the series. It wasn't just something that he was just doing. He took lesser money to do the fucking role.
That's not the only reason he was planning on leaving. He actually was planning on leaving, and he Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck are all suing DC films Because so he actually was. So the original reason he was leaving was because he was he promised to do the Superman and sign a contract and everything. But I'm actually happy because he's also a really avid fan of Warhammer and he's read all of those books as well. So I'm super excited to see what his Warhammer series is going to be on Prime.
He's the king of the nerds.
Yeah,
well, I will say this: everyone that's listening but not watching, Tom just got a bat and whacked his monitor. We can't see him anymore. He got really upset about Geralt. We can't see him. He just trashed his entire setup. So,
Darrell, you just missed T Diddy go on a spell. I was talking. So back to So Henry Cavill, one of the the most notorious people for caring about his roles. Whether it was Superman, whether it's Geralt, whether it's this new Warhammer series that he's doing, this man knows what he's talking about in every aspect of it. More than most of the people, like I said, that are on the production team, that are writing it, that are producing it.
Yep, I agree. With that 1,000%.
He is one of the he's one of the best actors of our time right now, period.
He cares about source material, and I think people that take on a character that has established that people love, that people want to see in the big screen, and this is why people get upset to oh great, another video game movie, because they never are good, because they never stick to the source material, they never give anybody that doesn't care. But when they finally get someone that cares, you heard from Houston, they crap all over him, and now he's not part of it, so there goes that. So it's we get something good, and it gets ruined.
Yep.
But
another good example was God rest his soul, Heath Ledger really put himself into everything he did. He not only did research, but tried putting himself in the position of the character to kind of get his mind there. And he openly, oh my gosh, what are you laughing at, Matt? What do you have?
I mean, he certainly put himself into something in Brokeback Mountain.
No, he really got into that one.
Oh dear.
To get his head
I'll see
in
you
the
guys
game.
later, bro.
Disrespect. But no, yeah,
I got these scars.
Want to know how I got these scars? You see, my father was a drinker.
My cowboy boyfriend got a little rough with me one night.
Oh my god.
Will said that.
Darrell on the next College Humor episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Matt,
go ahead. So I do think it plays a key role in how well a character is portrayed and how well the actor does in that role, because we've seen a lot of actors take on a role and just be absolutely shitty at it. Believe it or not, Robert Pattinson did a lot of comic book reading for the Batman.
I still think it should have been Batman Beyond, but hey, that's just me.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And right now, I've been saying this for years. If we ever do a live action, Jensen Ackles needs to play the Red Hood, because he's already voiced him once, and that's his favorite character. Or he needs to be the new Batman in the DCU. He's about the right age. He would kill the part because he knows the source material. And he looks like Bruce Wayne. He has a facial structure for it and everything, and a cocky attitude.
That's it. Well, last one, Matt. What do you think about people sticking to the source material?
I think it depends entirely on what you're trying to do. I think whether you're sticking to the source material or you're doing something different, I think being familiar with the source material is extremely important, because you know what steps to take or not to take if you're trying to do something different. So either way, I think it's important that these actors and actresses familiarize themselves with what happened in the comics. And you don't have to go and read every back issue, but you could go with some of the most recommended versions, and you can figure out generally what drives the character. And, look at Tom Jane, what he did. And it was a different take on the Punisher's origin. And I think it worked. I don't think it was necessary. I love what they did in this movie, where it was a throwaway line. It was literally, oh, this happened, that's why he's the Punisher. But it's the same thing with the Spider-Man in the MCU. We didn't have another Uncle Ben dying. We didn't have another Peter gets bitten by the spider, because they know everybody knows that. And that allowed them to do a more impactful death later in the trilogy. Being familiar with the characters doesn't mean you have to stick with them, because ultimately it still is the director and publisher's story. The actor's just acting out the part given to them. But in cases like Henry Cavill, the actor can turn around and go, "Are you sure that's the way the character would do this? Oh, this is the way our character's doing it. Okay, pay me money for doing this, then, I guess, because whatever." I think it's important, regardless whether you're sticking to the
those
character.
women to fucking death.
Ooh, here we go.
Dude, I watched a interview with Henry Cavill today, as a matter of fact, when he was talking about the death scene and Man of Steel, when he had to kill the only other surviving member of his dead planet, and just how passionate he was about getting the character and understanding that what was about to happen. I was just like, my dude,
Man of
Look
Steel.
at his face.
Man of Steel, I will give it. It's one of my favorites, man.
that's so good.
I will give Man of Steel one more star than Batman vs Superman,
Which is already past 10. So
That's good.
That's
Good.
a lot of stars.
I'm sorry, I go on a negative scale.
Yeah.
So my notes are almost up. We're getting there. I didn't like the white button jacket wardrobe switch to Jigsaw. I think it was kind of goofy. I think he should have just stayed in a nice regular suit. I like that the movie takes place majority at night and the neon lights throughout the movie. I think the cinematography, the bright neon lights throughout the whole movie looked really good. Awesome last shootout action scene. Punisher taking out a bunch of gang goons. Now, I will ask you guys this. Did you like, we will go around for this one. Did you like the first action scene more, or did you like the last action scene more? I like the first one more. Bearded, what did you like more? First or second? Or first or last?
So I like the first one just because I did like that campy aspect of it.
Okay. Houston.
That would also be a first for me as well. Just because the fact is, it's not only is this campy, it hits you really fast and it hits you hard and it gets you into the movie. And that's what makes the difference is that whole how you're going to feel when you get in the movie. Because the first 15 minutes of a movie, if it's an action movie or if it's a Punisher movie, it's got to hit you in some form of way. If it doesn't hit you in some form of way, you're not going to be like, It's just something that's like, I'm going to go back to Henry Cavill just one more time, even though it's pissed me off to no end. You're going to have to edit Darrell like a mother. Because, yeah, it was pretty bad. Henry Cavill in The Witcher. Okay. I'm sure everybody here has watched all the seasons of The Witcher on Netflix.
I have not.
Just one. I watched half of one. I couldn't finish it, man.
New
Okay.
episodes came out today.
It is unbelievably, when it first starts off, the slowest thing of even getting to him. And it's just like, what the hell? Is this The Witcher or is this about some other damn people? And truth behold, it's not about The Witcher. So if you haven't watched the Netflix Witcher series, don't give those people your money. They hate you. They're horrible writers and they deserve to fucking die.
All right.
Dang.
Darrell, what do you think about the first action scene, or do you like the last action scene more?
So the first action scene was great. If the last action scene we're talking about the hallway scene, then that's my favorite one.
That's the last main action scene. You like that one better?
Yeah. I like that one better, and I think that was the precursor to some of the stuff we got later on in the others. So like the Daredevil hallway fight and some of the Punisher stuff like that. I think that really set the tone, because I remember when that movie was being promoted, they were so excited because they're like, "Dude, we kill like 50 guys in this one area. Like this is a big deal." And you were talking about watching some of the special, deleted scenes and the special features and stuff like that. And that was one of the things that popped up on one of them when I watched it a while back, was that they were so excited about that particular scene and how many people they kill or whatever. And I thought that was a good one. That is the Punisher doing Punisher stuff. And so, rolling in between the rooms, just freaking popping dudes. The hallway he blows that guy's head up. Freaking loved it. So
I liked it. Kind of remind me of the Batman. I know it's not great, but the Batman warehouse scene with Ben Affleck, I think one of the best fight scenes.
Oh, that is
I think that scene, and if they can just take that scene out and put it in a solo Batman movie, if that's not Arkham Knight, if that's not Arkham Asylum, and I don't know what is, man. But that was great. So, Matt, first action scene or last action scene?
I'm with Darrell on this one. The last action scene showed how, regardless of the odds, he's a force unto himself. The first one was nice to see, his plan coming together and taking out mob boss families and things like that. But the last one showed like ingenuity and beating the odds. Darrell, that scene where he drops a grenade in the bucket, kicks the bucket down into the other room.
Yeah.
Just
that guy's
awesome.
Like, oh.
Yeah, just awesome the way that was pulled off. And as comical as it was, yes, opening the door, seeing the guy on the toilet and just blasting him, nothing, not even giving it like a second thought to be like, maybe I shouldn't kill it. No, fuck you, you're dead. So to me, the last action scene just showed what the Punisher does when he is on his game.
Yep. I agree with that too. The last one was great. I think I give a little bit to the first one because it set the tone. Like Houston said, it's telling you what to expect of what kind of movie you're running into. So it sets the tone of the kind of action you're going to get. So the ending was completely rewritten. The script was going to have the Punisher fight both Looney Bin Jim and Jigsaw back to back instead. However, the director was sleeping one day, woke up, and she said, I have to change it. So that ending with Microchip getting shot and the Mexican standoff and him jumping in front of the bullet was all rewritten.
Which was pretty cool. I mean, I'm glad. I hate they killed Microchip, but I'm also glad they killed him because it showed some actual
ramifications.
Yeah.
Some viscosity from the villain instead of kind of like the normal villain.
Yeah. He said, Micro, you won't feel a thing because he already knew what was going to happen.
But and again, that's Punisher at his core because he's like, my trauma and me being the good guy means I have to save the woman and the child at all costs.
Yep. And he still didn't kill Micro. He wanted him to kill Micro, but he flipped it on him because he knew someone was going to die anyway. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to blast Looney Bin Jim, and he's going to kill Micro instead. But it's not going to be me killing Micro.
Yep.
No, I like that.
Yeah, at that point, if he shot Micro, he'd be out of bullets against two armed assailants.
Yep.
He chose the path that would save the most people while taking out the most people he could.
Yep, exactly. So that was, I think, somewhat good of an ending, better than the one. I guess she's like, I didn't want to have them just fight back to back and it's over. So we're coming down to the wire here. Ray Stevenson came up with some of his own dialogue for the film. Fits in pretty well. The dialogue that he came up with was, let me put you out of my misery, when he threw Jigsaw into the fire. And then this is only the beginning, while Jigsaw was burning, was completely made up by Ray Stevenson during the time. I found the ending to be kind of funny. Jesus replaced with Punisher saves Soap from getting mugged/killed, shows the skull nice and bright in the dark. And Ray Stevenson went through some gun and martial arts training for the film. And last but not least, rest in peace to Ray Stevenson. And that's all I have.
That's right. Yep. I hate that he's gone, man, because even though I didn't think we'd ever get another one with him, that kind of really seals the deal. There's no chance.
He could have played Big Boss in the Snake movie.
He could have. He really could have. I think if you know Metal Gear Solid, yeah. I don't see why not. Ray Stevenson was last in, didn't he just get done doing Star Wars or something like that?
He is playing a Sith in Ahsoka.
And that was the last of his...
Yep, that's going to be the last thing I think we get out of him.
I might give it a shot just to watch it for the sake of him being the last. But yeah, man, it was sad when I heard about the news. And to go back to the sequel to Thomas Jane's 2004, I'm sure you all saw Dirty Laundry.
Oh yeah.
So I thought, oh no, it's a short, Beard. It's a short on YouTube called Dirty Laundry. It's pretty good. It's like Thomas Jane really showing that he likes the Punisher character, and but that was the last time we ever saw him as the Punisher. Technically speaking, it was a thing he came up with his own.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it. What you think about that, Darrell? Dirty Laundry.
I thought it was awesome, and I think that Thomas Jane was a good Punisher. He plays that somber, just heartbroken Punisher very well. He's got a good look. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he hit the best skull in my opinion. I just think that, and I love the story of how he got the skull in that particular movie. His son gets him a cool shirt. His whole family gets massacred. He wakes up on the beach and the shirt's in the water, and the ink and the dye on the shirt has been running down. So he's like, and he puts it on. I'm just like, bro,
yeah,
like. To me, that one, that movie was so good. I'd love for us to do this, but for that movie, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to go into it too much, but I thought that was a good one. I thought Thomas Jane was a good one. And I thought that Dirty Laundry was kind of like oh snap, we're going to get another Punisher movie out of him. And then we got the Ray Stevenson one, which I was excited to get because
didn't Ray Stevenson come out before that?
I don't know that
Ray Stevens' movie came out in 2008.
And when did Dirty Laundry come out?
Like, didn't it come out after?
Let's look. Because here's the thing. I didn't see the Dirty Laundry thing until a few years ago.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's that old.
July 2012.
Yeah, okay. So Ray Stevens came out way before that.
So even then, I just assumed it was like this was something that was made like afterwards, in between, you know what I'm saying? Like I had no idea that fell in that timeline. But either way,
after the Stevenson Punisher, people were still calling for Jane to come back, and I think this was his way to try to pitch it, a la kind of like what
Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds ended up doing with Deadpool. Is look, I still have it. I can still do this.
Yeah, which is interesting because I like him as and I know that we'll never get Bernthal as the movie Punisher because, comic book, I don't know, maybe with Marvel, maybe they've kind of cross-pollinated a little bit better than DC. DC is almost like absolutely not, like the TV version and the movie version have to be different. But yeah, I don't know, man, but I thought that seeing the Dirty Laundry thing was like this is something we could have got, but we didn't because they rebooted it. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I guess, we'll see. I guess I don't know what's going to happen with, like I said, I'm kind of checked out, unfortunately, with the Punisher. I'm glad that the Warzone happened. It was still as close as you're going to get to, I guess, the Punisher comics, even though it's a wacky movie. I'm glad that you had me back on, that we could, talk about this and talk about how much we liked or disliked and what we, agreed on. And it was great. Thanks for having me back, Darrell. I really enjoyed it, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. I mean, obviously, thank you, Macho, for taking point on this one because it's fun. It's fun sometimes to let someone else in the driver's seat, and let them guide the conversation. And the fact that you're so passionate about this is also exciting because sometimes I feel like these guys get super bored of me, not just these guys, like the cast, but I mean, like the people that listen, they get bored of me always running off about the things that I super love. And honestly, the Punisher is one of those things up there with Batman. Like to me, growing up, the Punisher, Wolverine, and Batman were that's my three. And having a conversation about this one, even though it wasn't my favorite Punisher movie, I think is awesome. And I'd love to come back and talk about the others. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to talk about.
I'm down for Thomas Jane, man. I'll definitely I was looking to buy that one. Actually, I don't think it's on 4K. I don't think it's on 4K, but I will definitely buy it on Blu-ray.
I have a Blu-ray version. I don't have a 4K version.
I'll definitely watch it and watch all the deleted scenes and everything else. And if you want to have it, I'll do my homework.
T. Diddy?
Now, speaking of something coming out on 4K and on Blu-ray, the 30th anniversary edition of Mask of the Phantasm, which both voice actors should have won a effing Oscar for those.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm calming down for where Bearded Nerd got me so riled up about The Witcher.
All I did was say Henry Cavill.
That's all it took. That's all it took.
You talked about how Henry Cavill was passionate, and then basically I keep, going on. I keep remembering everything they kept saying that the women were trying to get him fired. They said that he cared too much about the content, and I'm like, if you don't care about the content, then don't write the shit. Quit the damn production. And he kept fighting and fighting and fighting to have more control over it. And they were trying to say, oh, he's toxic, he's horrible, he's all these things. No, he's a guy who actually has passion and cares about what he's reading. He cares about what he's doing. So if people think I'm just some, woman hater or something like that, no. I love women. I think women to death. I just in particular hate these writers who don't respect the source material, didn't think of enough the source material to read the source material, and that pisses me off. That's almost as bad as Britt Baker going over Ty Valkyrie in AEW. Who the hell did the booking for that match?
I think Bearded just says Desire, Rusty, 17, Dawn, Oven, 9 kind, boxcar, and then Houston just he just goes. Darrell, when you left, man, I think you left.
That's awesome.
He went crazy.
That's awesome. I freaking love it. I love it. That's good. I'm glad. So,
or do you want to do a Witcher podcast?
Dude, let's go.
I'm not doing that one. I went crazy enough. I'm so damn mad. It's just the fact is that you don't respect the damn material, and if you don't respect the material, and it makes me so mad because they were constantly bragging about, oh well, we're going to do the show however we want, and we're strong women and all this other crap. But I'm like, so you're telling the men that you want to watch the show that they fucking suck, that fuck you, we didn't write the show for you, and you shouldn't watch it even though your boy respects the source material and your boy loves the damn books and he plays the games, and guess what? Fuck him too, because we don't give a fuck and we're going to do our own shit over here. Well, fuck you bitches. I'm not watching the rest of the damn show.
I was going to have my nephew watch this show. I guess not.
Yeah, well, I told my kids. It's so funny because my kids have been watching. They've been watching the YouTube videos that we put out, and I have like one of my email addresses that I've created to do so they can watch, YouTube. They can watch their creators, and then they can watch our, the stuff we do for Resident Darrell. And then in the recommended pops up the Loot Bros podcast. I was like, do not listen to that. They're like, why,
well,
Daddy?
This episode, let's let me edit it, and I'll just edit.
They say, why, Daddy? Do you say bad words? I'm like, no.
Houston,
my friends do.
This is the Punisher episode. Go in, baby. Let's go.
But yes, thank you guys so much for coming on here, talking shop. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, T. Diddy, the passionate one. Thank you, Bearded Nerd. Thank you, Macho. Really appreciate you guys. If you made it this far, guys, this is the part where we tell you to go check out the Patreon for all the extra content. Go check out the Houston Hunter podcast. Go check out the Hunter Houston ESG podcast. Go check out Trophy Whores. We may or may not have a friend on the panel that may or may not have been on the most recent episode of Trophy Whores.
And we may or may not have one of our main co-hosts that kind of spilled the beans for all of Facebook to see.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. There's a traitor.
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Nope. Yes, definitely go check out all the cool stuff that we have been cranking out, and we will be back with Thomas Jane Punisher. I would love to go back with the Dolph Lundgren Punisher, and I would love to do Daredevil Season 2 Punisher Season 1, and then Punisher Season 2, if you guys would like to do that down the line. All of them need their own episode because they're so different.
Is Louis Gossett Jr. still alive?
That is beyond me.
Okay, because he was in the Dolph Lundgren Punisher. For those who haven't seen it,
I will be honest, I have not seen it. I haven't.
It's actually pretty good,
it's
man.
Blasphemy.
You should
Punisher
watch that
fan.
one.
I will go back. I will. It's the first one, so it's kind of disrespectful for me not to have seen it. I will go back. I will see it.
Just don't watch the original Fantastic Four movie.
No, I'm not watching that. You can't pay me to watch that.
That's horrible.
I will say
original from the 1980s.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, that's garbage.
I will say this for the first time. ever. I have never seen this movie before time, ever. RoboCop. Fantastic film. The very
first one or
original
the remake?
The
Yeah, the first
original
one's good.
RoboCop. I saw it for the first time. I've been waiting to watch it. I finally saw it. Fantastic film,
That's a
man.
good one. That's a good movie.
You're coming with me.
Oh, Red
Dead or alive.
from that 70s show was one hell of a bad guy.
Yes, man. That was a really RoboCop was good. So if you haven't seen RoboCop 1 original, go check that movie out. Really good.
That's good. That's good. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. This has been Loot Bros Podcast, and we're out.
Yeah.
Peace.
This is the way.
You're never gonna find us, we're running so well. Whatever the bottom, but if you're out now.